Do you seriously think I'd explain my masterstroke if there remained the slightest chance of you affecting its outcome? I did it 30 seconds ago. Ozymandias. Maggots, curs, and mewling quims thereupon. This is modern escapism. Welcome to the show. My name is Darth Oodles, and today I am joined by Stig.
When they touch down, we'll blow up the roof, they'll spend a month sifting through rubble, and by the time they work out what went wrong, we'll be sitting on a beach, earning 20%.
Excellent. Candy.
Perhaps he's wondering why you'd shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Also Biggie.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
And last but certainly not least, Gadget.
I don't need anyone else. I have Ouroboros. Ouroboros will be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global saturation.
That's quite niche.
I know, and the 5 people who'll get it will really enjoy it.
I liked it. Anyway, without further ado, this is Modern Escapism, and we've got something to sell to you. Take it away, Stig.
Brilliantly sold.
I'll buy that for $1.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought we were going to talk about the live show first, but
Take my money.
I'll do Patreon first.
Do the money first.
Yeah, hang on. Right, go again.
No,
I'm keeping all that in.
Okay, if you want more excellent content just like that, then we have a Patreon, and if you go to patreon.com/Modern Escapism, you'll see on there 3 tiers that we do. For £5 a month, you'll get Modern Escapees, and that will get you an extended edition of this episode every week, as well as at least one monthly special a month, and then any other specials that we currently do. If you are into Dungeons and Dragons, then we do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast called Do Dragons Dream of Scorched Sheep. And for £5, the Scorched Sheep tier will get you ad-free early access to the episode. It will get you free artwork and music and character sheets and anything that we create for the show. And you will be able to suggest NPCs and items for Gadget to use in the campaign. And if you're feeling flush, and why wouldn't you be, £7.50, the Biggie Bundle, that gets you everything.
And a lamb
My
kebab.
favourite tier.
It is. Go Biggie or go home. That's what we always say.
Thank you very much. So, normally we'd be getting into what we've been doing this week, but last week we did something very special, didn't we?
Yes.
We became live broadcasters.
Yeah.
And it was triumphant and sexy and hilarious and just, wow. I want to get your thoughts on it, guys.
Was Oodles breaking the law then if he was a live broadcaster and doesn't have a TV license?
I've not watched it. Does that count?
It's okay, I'm in the same boat.
Grassing yourself up. Right, yeah, so what do you guys think of that? How did you feel?
So much fun. I was buzzing. And normally after I do the
cried
podcast...
about 3 times.
I did. I had to flap the tears back in and everything. But normally after we record, I go more or less straight to bed. But I was buzzing for hours. I just went to the living room to play games. And I was like, awake. And then absolutely crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I absolutely loved it. Like, I was a bit slightly nervous to start with, just because I've never done it before. But yeah, it was great. I loved interacting with the chat. And
it went really smooth,
like
didn't it? It was,
yeah, it did go really
unlike
smooth.
this one.
And it meant Gadget had not a week off because he still had other podcasts to edit, but a bit of an easier Monday, didn't you?
Well, it took me an hour to edit as opposed to 7, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, a world of difference. I really liked it. The thing is, like, Gadget had, like, front row seats to his own live thing because he had all the OBS screens in front of him. For me, it was it felt a bit surreal, like I'm watching myself. Obviously, I can hear myself, everyone live, but I was watching myself react to something I'd said 30 seconds ago. It was so weird to watch. Closest I'll ever be to a Time Lord. But yeah,
We had. I just wanted to point out some feedback on that as well.
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
So DJ Walsh of Snugcast fame.
yeah. Rest in peace. I'm going to say.
Rest in peace.
DJ,
He's
mate,
doing better than
He's only got a
Get
battle.
well soon.
Get well soon. Yeah, Jesus.
You understand it? He knows. I'm drunk.
There were complications.
I am currently drunk. So
he just said,
It's going to be alarmed now.
yeah. He wasn't ready for Candy's little speech on this week's Modern Escapism. What a treasure. I just thought it was really nice.
Oh, rest
And-
in peace, mate.
Yeah, and we had a
Stick
load
with
in
it,
the
stick
Discord
with it.
as well, so that of really nice words and people saying they really enjoyed it. So it was really nice to hear that.
Yeah, it was the most sober I've ever been as well, and I think people could tell. It's not interrupting as much, that kind of thing.
I think
You can set a coherent thought in it.
it was suggested to us that we do Christmas one live.
Oh,
I put it forward if everyone else feels like about it that we do Christmas and birthday live.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy with that.
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, we do the
Yeah.
Christmas and birthday. Seems like two good dates to do live podcasts.
What about Scorched as well?
I was going to say, I think maybe for the birthday episode of Scorched, we'll do that one live as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah, tune in for
Which
that.
will be an absolute fucking clusterfuck of a show.
Absolutely, because the amount of stuff I cut out of Scorched of me like looking up the rules to something,
All of it.
finding dice that's
Oh
fallen
no,
off.
we'll be absolute pros by then. Be fine.
I don't think we will.
And also the
we will.
nervousness about opening the parcel after the Christmas episode with some of the presents. It was very relieving to have such lovely gifts.
I had a lovely
from our,
Christmas present. I
candy
don't
machine.
care what anyone else got.
Yeah, I got a great Christmas
I had a
present.
good one.
I got Sting.
It'd be better this year, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah.
In a nappy.
Excellent, brilliant. I'm glad, and I'm glad everyone that tuned in liked it. And yeah, absolutely. But honestly, sorry, DJ, get well soon, mate.
Unless it's too late.
He'll
Unless
enjoy
it's too late.
R.I.P.
Otherwise, condolences to the family.
Could we title this episode "Rest in Peace, DJ"?
Yes, we absolutely can.
You'll see a load of people like, what the fuck?
Died.
Excellent. So let's just get on with it. Gadget, what the friggin' hell have you been doing this week?
Okay, so a couple of things to talk about. First one I'm going to talk about is, so you know I started playing Days Gone a couple of weeks ago.
You did.
And I said, this is a nice long game. It's going to take me a while. I was a bit of a smooth-brained idiot, and I decided to start playing Persona 5, which is an even longer game. Persona 5 is it's a JRPG /
Social.
high school anime social thing. It might be the weebiest game I've ever played.
Yeah, easily. And I play them for a living.
And I've played Doki Doki Literature.
Yeah,
Club,
so
you know,
have
it's weebier than that. You play as a kid who, well, he's kind of nameless, he's kind of voiceless, but he has a voice, but you only talks when you go in and out of menus or when you're actually in
Yeah,
fights.
they all call him Joker, don't they, as well?
Yeah, you play as this kid who gets brought into the lifestyle of being a phantom thief by transplanting himself between realities. Because via an app on his smartphone.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's a thing that can happen to Japanese teenagers
Because of
if
cat.
you didn't know. Yeah.
Or if you have a Facebook account.
Or if you have a Facebook account. Yeah.
Allegedly.
And it's hard to describe because I'm like 12 hours into it. I've done the first dungeon and I don't really know what the fuck's going on. The thing is, I'm really enjoying it and I'm really kind of engrossed in it. It's one of these games that I think it'll be probably around about hour 30 that the full run of the plot opens up to you.
No, you're wrong.
No, oh, fuck's sake.
No. I'll be realistic with you, about hour 60.
What's the point?
So about 120 hours it took me to beat it.
I mean, the thing is, the game itself is really enjoyable. At its core, it's a dungeon crawler.
Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler crossed with like kind of Final Fantasy and Pokemon. It's got a gorgeous art style.
Oh,
I
God,
absolutely
yeah.
love the art.
It does.
For a translated game with voice actors over text,
It's great.
the voice acting's pretty good, actually. I quite like some of it. I like the characters. Ryuji's hilarious. Anne is...
I
okay,
think
she's
you're
a bit
the only
annoying.
person that said this online that is a Ryuji stan. I don't think anyone likes Ryuji.
I quite like him. He seems earnest.
I don't dislike him. He's just a proper... He reminds me of Zell, remember from FF8?
Yeah. No, yeah, I get Zell
Hothead.
energy from him. And... Yeah, I like the combat. I like the use of the personas to do certain powers.
Yeah.
Part of the dungeon crawling thing that I like unlike some dungeon crawlers, like you just go in and you go in the dungeon. It takes you about an hour to work your way through. You beat the boss, then you come out. With this one, you actually have to kind of plan yourself. You have to like manage your energy. You have to manage like your items and your inventory. You can kind of only go so far into a dungeon before you then have to back out, wait a couple of in-game days, and then go back in. And I quite like that.
It's a dungeon heist, isn't it?
Yeah, It's got a lot of the vibes of the heists from GTA. So,
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it so far. I'll keep playing it, and I'll report back in probably 3 months when I get near the end of it.
Don't just drop anything until you've got to mention that soundtrack.
Oh
yeah. The music.
It's
is
like
banging.
jazz fusion. Fucking, I don't even really like jazz, but that's fucking brilliant.
It's like I think it's like if you took Jamiroquai,
Yeah.
but then put a Hammond organ in the side of it. Because when I was playing it the other day, and like Pip was sat watching along, like she had no idea what was going on, but like she started singing like the battle
that.
music,
Yeah.
and she started like that
Some of
piece
them are
music,
like,
and soundtrack's absolutely banging. So and that's another one of these the kind of PS4 classics that's on the PS5 if you've got the PS Plus, so worth playing. The main thing I want to talk about is Oodles, you're going to love what I'm about to say because I read a book.
You read a book? A book?
A book.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, no, book. You read a book.
I read a book. I read in the space of a week as well, which I mean, I'm a pretty fast reader, but it's very rare that I'll read an entire novel in a week. And this was Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a post-apocalyptic science fiction book. That wrongly on the front of it says it's the next Hunger Games. It's not now fucking like the Hunger Games. That almost put me off it. The concept is something akin to Fallout.
Oh, Candy's ear just went.
So imagine a post-apocalyptic wasteland where being outside is toxic.
At Newcastle.
Sounds like today.
Yeah. Like the whatever's happened in the world, there is this kind of choking fog, these toxins in the air. It's impossible to exist out there.
Oh, like Pontefract then. Sorry. Yeah, I got confused.
The human race now exists within a silo, which is 139 levels deep silo built under the ground. And within that silo, everything twists around on itself. There's a central set of stairs that leads you from the very top to the bottom. That is human existence in that silo.
Wow.
The populace inside can see outside due to cameras that are around the outside. They can see out in the world. They know how desolate it is. The book starts off with a character who is the sheriff, whose wife died several years earlier, and he's been crestfallen for years. And she was sent for the cleaning, and he goes to his deputy and says, I want to do the cleaning. I want to go outside, which is a forbidden thing to think. You don't want to go outside. It's against the rules. So he gets sent for cleaning, which is he puts on an environment suit. He walks out into the outside, sees blue skies everywhere around him.
Todd Howard.
And he's happy and he's elated. So what he does to show everyone what can happen, what the outside's really like, he does the cleaning. He cleans the lenses of these cameras and these sensors. And as he's running up the hill away from the door, the toxins get in the suit. And he dies next to the corpse of his wife.
Oh my god.
That's how the book starts.
Wow.
And so the next rung of the book is them trying to find the new sheriff, who is a character called Juliet. And the whole book is about their survival and the lies that they are told and the truths that they'll find out along the way. And it's fucking incredible.
Mate, I'm in.
It's
in.
so good.
Same.
It's a series of 3 books. It's called the Silo series. So I've just picked up the second 2 books, which are Shift and Dust.
I'm in.
But it's a long book. It's about 500 pages long, but I blasted through it so quickly. There is one section later, in a later section of the book, where Juliet has to do a bit, because Juliet's a mechanic within the silo. She has to do some maintenance in a flooded area of the silo. It is honestly the tensest bit of writing I've ever encountered. Like, at the end of that sequence, and I'm not going to say how it ends or what happens during it, but at the end of that sequence, I realized I was holding my own breath. Like, it's so
I've done that
written,
reading,
so well
and you
put
go,
together.
Yeah, I did that during some Game of Thrones.
yeah.
It's so well written. It's so tense. The only thing I don't quite like about it is, and if you have read the book or if you read the book, I don't quite like Bernard's character. You're not.
Does he have a watch?
He steals someone's watch.
No.
Yeah, I just don't like how his character is done. I get why he is the way he is, but I just kind of don't like that.
You know
Otherwise-
full well this is going to be a film.
I was just going to say, it already sounds like it would make a good one.
I don't know. It would make a bad film. It would make a great HBO series.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is so much in it. There's so many characters.
Email
There's
them.
double crosses, triple crosses. There's deaths. There's births. There's everything. It's so good. So yeah, Wool by Hugh Howey. Just pick up a copy. It's so good.
I already have. As you were speaking, I just downloaded it on Audible.
I just got a Kindle and I need books.
It is
Just
on Audible,
complete
by
it,
the
mate.
way.
Nice.
It's on Audible.
Yep.
Oh,
It's on
I'm in.
Audible, yeah.
Who's narrating it?
I will find out for you.
It's a big thing on Audible lately. That
There is also a graphic novel version of it as well.
Susanna
Oh.
Harker.
I
And
don't
it's
know what that
16
is.
hours
So
long.
must be a good thing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's one of those books I just found it really difficult to put down. Like, I tend to read for like half an hour before I go to bed, and I'm then closing the book and looking at my clock, and it's like 2 a.m. I'm like, shit, it's supposed to be an early night tonight.
Yeah,
And I've just barreled through 30 chapters.
that's incredible. That's what you want, mate. You love to see it. Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, great start, Biggie. What you been doing, boy?
Oh, I didn't know you were coming to me. So I watched the Beastie Boys story on
Yes.
Apple. Beastie Boys story is a 2020 American live documentary film. It's directed, produced, and written by Spike Jonze, who not only is he a director, but he did a couple of their videos for the Beastie Boys, Sabotage, Sure Shot that come to mind. It's alongside with Michael Diamond, Mike D, and Adam Horowitz, which is Ad Rock, the remaining members of the Beastie Boys. It's filmed at King's Theatre in Brooklyn, New York, and it's adapted from the Beastie Boys book, a memoir of the Beastie Boys. It's basically a PowerPoint presentation by the remaining members,
Yes.
with them reminiscing about their life. It's supported by interviews, film footage, music, and photos on a massive screen behind them. So they basically just got an audience sitting there watching them up on stage, and they're just talking.
Wow.
It's a story of friendship, fame, failure, and finding themselves, and it forms a heartfelt tribute to Adam Yauch, who was MCA, who sadly passed away to cancer in 2012.
Yeah.
They cover the early years of punk, the influences of funk, hip hop, soul. They talk about losing their friends, themselves, becoming the very caricatures that they were rapping about. After the early successes, when they were supporting Run DMC and Madonna, of all things, which I didn't even realise, they ended up having their own success with License to Ill, which came out in '86. They basically burned out after non-stop touring, decided to take a break. They're doing a lot of drugs and everything else. And then they returned with Paul's Boutique in 1989, setting up a massive launch event, but it was a commercial failure. And it did lead on to be critically acclaimed.
I don't think it's a shit album at all.
Listen to it now, it's really good. They went off again to find themselves with a fresh look and becoming better because they're self-taught musicians as well. They returned with Check Your Head in 92 and Ill Communication 94. With the mainstream success in hand, they followed this up with Hello Nasty in 98, to the Five Boroughs in 2004, the Mix Up 2007, finally in the 2011 Hot Sauce Committee Part 2, just before the death of Adam Yauch, who is presented basically as the core member of the group. He was always striving to be better, driving the group forward, and forever experimenting with new techniques and sounds. His death obviously affected the group. You can really see that love from them, particularly when they talk about the event leading up to the death. It was just really, you can see the emotion in the eyes. It's amazing. It's an unusual presentation, but then that basically typifies the Beastie Boys. And if you're a fan of their music, then it's an absolute must-see. If not, and you're up for discovering a unique trio of friends who constantly push the boundaries of hip-hop, then you're onto a sure shot. The next day, I went back through their music with a new perspective and appreciation, and just sat there whilst working, listening to their music. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think Beastie Boys, that legacy, like, I remember being, like, dead into them. I think they captured teenage angst quite well.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, I love these. And then some of my mates were like, oh, yeah, but it's not Jay-Z or it's not this. And I'm like, oh, come on, it's Beastie Boys, it's fun, it's a celebration, you know what I mean? And I felt like I was a bit of an outcast with that, but I didn't give a fuck. I love Beastie Boys, I always will.
I think they're one of those bands that kind of transcend genres, aren't they? Like, Prodigy are probably another good example of that.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
yeah.
what you're into; everyone loves the Beastie Boys.
You could always you could put MTV Bass on, Beastie Boys are on it. You could put Kerrang on, Beastie Boys are on it. MTV2 or normal MTV. Do you know what I mean? They're on like every genre. It was what a
You listen to again how their music has changed, and they just reinvent themselves every time. It's almost like if their last album was a success, then the next album they're going to do is completely different to the last one.
Yeah.
You know, there's no coherence really. You can just see how they've developed, matured. Yes, they were in trouble. They talk about their immature attitude.
Yeah.
To their friends, to women. There's regrets from a lot of the misogynistic ways.
Absolutely.
And they just talk about how things have changed and they matured and found themselves. And it's an unusual documentary. It's filmed very well, but considering they're actually just standing
It's
on
like a
stage.
TED Talk.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was just really good. I just really enjoyed it. And I also want to read the books. Apparently the book is massive.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that the audio book is really good because obviously it's with them. So I want to track that down. But yeah, I thought it was excellent. Really good.
Oh, what a shot. I'll get that watch this week, mate. Absolutely, 100%. You said it's on Apple TV?
Yes.
Brilliant. Excellent. Candy, what you been doing?
A couple of things this week. I went to see Free Guy at the cinema.
Free Guy.
That is the film that stars Ryan Reynolds as an NPC that becomes self-aware. It was actually released about a year and a half later than it was intended, I think. But I would say that was probably a good thing because I was a little bit burnt out on Ryan Reynolds straight off Deadpool. I saw a trailer of it right before. So I've been seeing trailers for the last year or so.
I saw it at E3, I think, last year.
Yeah, and they released a new trailer just before it was released, and it actually put me off a little bit. I thought it revealed a little bit too much of what would have been a funny surprise. Actually, it ended up not being too much of a spoiler, so it wasn't too bad. I expected it to be a little bit like The Truman Show, and it wasn't really. But it did sort of hit me in the feels. It was a bit of a surprise, actually. I enjoyed it more than I thought. There was some nice gamer chat in there as well. It was not too OTT.
Gamers.
Not like it wasn't too shove it in your face. We're elite and this, that, and the other. My initial thoughts were I would have liked to have seen maybe more Easter eggs, like gaming props, maybe in the style of Ready Player One. But actually,
I like Wreck-It Ralph as well. That kind of thing where you can just look in background and there's just references.
Just see this, and there was a little bit of that, but actually, it wouldn't have made sense in the film. I don't think.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi was in it as well, and he just steals the show in every scene that he's in, which
He's
is
in everything these days.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
I love him. I also watched a new TV show on Netflix called Brand New Cherry Flavour.
I've heard of this.
Are you sure that was
absolutely
Netflix and not the Hub?
It was the flicks. So it's a horror drama with some elements of dark comedy. It's based on a novel by Todd Grimson. It's set in the 90s. The story centers around Lisa Nova, who's a writer and director who comes to LA with the intent of directing her first movie. Now, she got stabbed in the back, proper Hollywood style, and her creation was basically taken away from her. So she enlists the help of a local witch.
As you do.
As you do. I have. I don't know about you. To curse the person who'd gotten away. It's a nice mix of sort of early American Horror Story before it started going a bit tits up, and the most recent version of Sabrina. So it's a little bit sort of dark and trippy, and it becomes more so. It becomes more its own style as the season goes on. I almost don't want to discuss too much of the story because it does take a few twists and turns, and there's some moments in it that will just kind of leave you blinking in confusion. But if it sounds like it's your cup of tea, I really, really recommend it. I really enjoyed it. It's really, really bingeable. Maybe save it to October or something if you want something Halloween to watch. But yeah, it's really good. I just can't describe too much about what it's about because I'll just give it all away.
It's not like and I don't mean to offend anyone here. It's not like as shitty as like Riverdale, is it?
No,
because Riverdale's so corny. Everyone in Riverdale's a fucking pro wrestler. It's ridiculous. Everyone's like, Riverdale.
I think it's well established that no one actually likes Riverdale.
Oh, that's good then. I didn't know.
Do you know what's quite upsetting? So Candice, you say it was set in the 90s.
Yeah.
Everything keeps going back to the 90s for nostalgia now.
Because we're getting old.
Yeah.
Used to be the 70s and 80s. Now we're hitting the 90s. There's been a few things on Netflix there. They started focusing on the 90s. It's like, we're there.
You know how I feel.
We're there now.
Yeah, they used to say like
how
90s,
you felt in the 90s.
90s were the decade that fashion forgot and stuff like that. But you look back and it's quite iconic is the 90s.
There are people wearing stuff now.
Yeah,
looks like straight out the 90s.
I think
it's
the 90s was Britain's era, wasn't it? Like the kind of Oasis and Pulp, and so the 90s for us was good. Maybe not the States so much.
The Kappa tracksuits are coming back in big style as well. So the poppers,
flashy, colourful trousers and jackets and stuff. Yeah,
I'm all for it. I like the 90s.
Bit of tie dye.
Bit of tie dye, yeah, for the Pearl Jam fans and stuff. And
bucket hats.
Yeah, bucket hats. Oh God, what? I like that decade. Fine.
Curtain hairstyles.
What's wrong with curtain hairstyles? Like?
Nothing.
Yeah, good, excellent. Thank you, Candy. Stig, you've been doing, bro.
First one I'll talk about. We'll skip through it quickly. I know you played it as well. 12 minutes.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it.
I was really looking forward to this. I think it was one of the ones where a lot of people, when they saw the art style and the premise of the game on the original trailers, it was really intrigued a lot of people.
EGX, wasn't it? Like 3 years ago.
I was buzzing for it, mate. I've been buzzing for it.
Everyone was like kind of really buzzing for it, and it started to get quite good word from the press as it came out. But I don't think the reaction from people who've played it is quite as up there like that, and I can see why.
I actively don't like it. That's my opinion now.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to bother carrying on with it or not. I've got to a point now where I've unlocked part of the story where I think I could go on now and find out what happens. But from what I've read on forums and stuff, non-spoilery, people just say it's just more of the same and more.
Apparently, it goes nowhere.
Shit writing and
Who made the game? I can't even remember.
Indie developed. It's got big names because it's got Daisy Ridley and Willem Dafoe in it. And
it's got Daisy Ridley and
it's made by Annapurna.
James McAvoy voicing the two leads
as Americans.
They put American accents on. Why did you bother? You can't tell it's them. You can tell it's Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah,
Green Goblin. You can't tell it's them. It's like why? But yeah, honestly, I think I probably spent an hour and a half, 2 hours playing this game, and it's a lot of trial and error, which doesn't bother me. It's point and click. It works better on the PC with a mouse. But it was just. I was just watching the same thing over and over and over again. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then there's a point where I figured out what I need to do. I was like, okay, I'll do that and do that. All right. I know what to do here. And
it doesn't work.
I want to be spoilery about it because of how stupid it is. But I don't know if anyone in here is that bothered.
Put a klaxon there.
Yeah. If you want to avoid spoilers for 12 minutes, skip ahead to 31 minutes on the time code. Thank you.
So, this game is Abusive Husband Simulator.
Yes, Abusive Husband Simulator.
Oh, fucking hell, really?
Yeah, because you go in, and one of the things you have to do to try and fix
your wife, for one.
Ignore her. The other one is drug her.
Yep.
The other one is... Yeah, to find out where the watch she's hidden is, you have to go into the apartment, hide in the cupboard before she knows you've come home, so when the cop turns up, He beats her up and kills her while you just sit in the cupboard and watch.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
horrible.
like, this is just ridiculous. It is so stupid and ridiculous. And people say it gets even worse.
Yeah, you verbally abuse her all the way through it. It's horrible.
Yeah. So I just don't know if I
Fucking
could be
hell.
asked playing it. Like, so yeah.
Where do I
have to-
sign up?
Off my list.
Yeah.
The thing
It-
is, I've seen
definitely off
online.
my
I've
list
seen
now.
online. There's 50% of people saying, "Oh, this is fantastic," and then 50 saying, "This is horrible. This
Yeah.
is crap." I don't know what.
I
I don't know
loved the
what it
premise.
is.
I loved the premise and the idea, but the
It's so
execution
gorgeous to look
is
at.
so shit.
Nah,
And it was just that thing that's tipped me over the point. I was like, oh, I'll carry on because I figured out if I hide in the cupboard and
Yeah.
she doesn't see me, then I'll find out from her what happens. But I'm
Yeah.
sat there watching, going, I have to just sit through this,
watching it get braid.
getting braid and then getting shot. Well, as a husband, you do nothing about it.
Yeah.
And the stupid thing about that is, what happens if that's the time? That's how you break the time loop.
Yeah,
You've just
Horrible.
watched her die and you can't do anything about it. And it's just like, yeah, shit. So yeah, disappointing on that one.
sorry,
unfortunately.
Annapurna, you've dropped the ball
Yeah.
this time. First
So-
time ever.
Moving on, what I wanted to talk about and what I'm really happy about and absolutely loved this week. Gonna talk some wrestling, Biggie.
Wrestling.
Gonna talk some wrestling.
Yeah.
This week, if you're into wrestling, I know we've got a few listeners that are, because I talked to them privately about it as well.
Oh, privately.
Was the return of CM Punk.
Yeah, big news.
7 years out of the wrestling industry. In 2014, he left the WWE due to the way he was being treated and obviously for his own health, mentally and physically. He even states in this promo when he came back, he said, I could never get better in the place that made me sick in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's how actively, how bad it was for him at the time. It's very reminiscent of why kind of Dave Chappelle left Hollywood in the height of his career. It just, things just weren't right for him at the time, especially mentally.
It takes a lot to admit that, I think.
Yes. So he, bit of background on CM Punk. He's the guy that got me back into wrestling.
It's brilliant.
After flittering on and off the product in the mid 2000s, he started in 2005 in the WWE. I just wasn't into the product that much, and it wasn't till his famous pipe bomb promo, what's known as the pipe bomb, he just pulled me back in, and a lot of other people, lapsed fans as well, because he spent several minutes shooting on the company and those behind the scenes. I'll explain what this means in a minute. So it was obviously a work, but done in a shoot style, and what that means is to shoot on someone in the wrestling industry means it's real.
It's not kayfabe.
If it's a work, it means that people are in on it and it's part of the product. So what they did with him was basically have him as an anti-company man, and basically talk about shit that happens behind the scenes, but live on air. And he just had this 10-minute promo on Raw where he just went off on the company and Vince McMahon and everyone that owned it. And if you're into wrestling, it was one of the things that just drew you back in on YouTube.
It felt very attitude era, didn't it?
Yeah, it was all over Twitter, it was all over YouTube and stuff, and that pulled me back in. And it was just a breath of fresh air. He has a different look to most of the wrestlers. He's amazing on the mic. He's a really good wrestler to boot. And it just hit all the right notes for someone like me who had kind of become distant from the WWE product. And what he was saying was, in a cliched way, he was the voice of the voiceless. The people who had said, this is shit. This is why we're not fans anymore. And he was pointing out that kind of stuff. But then he left.
I like the way you refer to wrestling as like a product, as if it's like a drug.
No, it is a product, though.
It's
You bring the product.
No, it's
the product.
Yeah. No, the product of wrestling. But yeah, he left in 2014, and then he spent the next 7 years doing other stuff. Like he fought in the UFC very unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
He did some TV shows and some films. And he's always said, if the right offer comes around, then I'll come back to wrestling. But I think what's happened is, because of AEW coming around and getting as good as they are and as popular as they are, he's found a wrestling organization that isn't going to kill him mentally and physically like the WWE is.
Has he got a bit more freedom and stuff like that?
Yes, it's a bit more freedom. There's less shows. There's more freedom in how you run
less
your
pageantry,
how you run your character, how you wrestle. There's no scripting, so it's not.
Yeah.
You aren't kind of forced to do.
It's probably what he fell in love with the sport in the first place for. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
He states in his return promo, I left professional wrestling in 2005 and I've returned on this date in 2021. And what he means by that is that WWE is a variety show. It's sports entertainment. It's not pro wrestling.
Yeah. There's a massive difference.
There's a big difference between what WWE do and what AEW do. For people like Big E and Gadget yourself and that, you might look at it and go, to me, it's just pro wrestling. But when you watch the product, it's very different.
There's different technicalities to the actual wrestlers as well. It's like some of the Japanese wrestling you see as well. It's completely different. It's just it's a different world.
Yeah, and like the thing is with AEW as well is what they're doing right now is I don't subscribe to any of the WWE versus AEW shit. Like that's it's tiresome as fuck. Like
you can enjoy everything, can't you?
Just enjoy it. There's parts of WWE I enjoy. There's parts of AEW I don't enjoy. It's like it's just like what you like. You don't need to have this constant one-upmanship. But what I do like about them is that they'll take someone who's about, no offense, who's all the size of you.
Yeah.
And they'll make you look like a star against the world champion.
Yeah, it's
like,
unrealistic, isn't it?
Yeah, but they'll make you believe that you could be the world champion. That's kind of what they do. They build up their stars. They don't hide. They don't just push them down.
That's good.
Anyway, so back to Punk. It was just incredible. I've posted this in our Discord, and I hope anyone actually had a look at this. And
I did.
And just look at the emotion and the noise from that crowd. The show starts, and it is literally it's 15,000 people chanting CM Punk. They sold the arena out purely on a rumor that he was going to show up.
Oh,
that is it. It wasn't confirmed he was showing up. They kind of gave it away with little nods here and there, but it was a rumor that we've booked this big stadium. Be there. You want to be there. Trust us.
Wow.
And it paid off. Like Cult of Personality, which is his theme music, that hits. The crowd loses the shit. The roar is massive. He walks out onto the ramp. The roar again is massive. And then
he looked great, didn't he? He looked great shape.
CM Punk chants start to drown out the music. That's how loud the crowd was. That's how much they were into it. It's cutting to people in the crowd crying. There's a meme of a man going around literally in tears, there because they're just so happy to see him back. Yeah. And yeah, I just fucking loved it. I got up. I was up early on Saturday morning because I had stuff to do. And the first thing I did was watch that. And I was like, fuck me, this is so good. Goosebumps, just honestly, I was just full of goosebumps. Yeah, I've watched it about 4 or 5 times since.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, and he came out and did like a 10-minute promo about being back. He was very earnest and honest about it. He apologized, said if I did things or said things over the last 7 years that you didn't agree with, I apologize, but I'm back. And
baby,
it's the same stadium that the Chicago Bulls use.
Yeah.
So they kind of played off on that Michael Jordan when he came back, and the press release was just, I'm back. They did exactly that with him. Just they released a press statement. It just said, I'm back.
Wow.
But it's been the talk of Twitter, wrestling Twitter, and everything for the last few days.
It's all over TikTok, mate.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it. It keeps popping up.
Considering this weekend was SummerSlam as well, which is WWE's second biggest pay-per-view
that got no
event.
press.
It's just, and they had some big returns on that show, but they just relied on bringing Goldberg and John Cena back, and it's just dull. I've watched SummerSlam today. It wasn't good.
No.
And I was looking forward to a few of the matches, but it just wasn't good. And compared to what AEW are doing, I'm so glad that company's come around. Because it's got me loving watching professional wrestling again.
So very quickly, because I'm just
I've been rambling
wrestling.
No, I love it, mate.
Wrestling used to be like. So what's wrong with watching something like SummerSlam now? If you've just watched it today, for example, what's missing?
Just
heart.
I don't know what it is. It's just
quite hollow, isn't it? Wrestling, WWE nowadays, it's quite a hollow thing.
It's too overproduced.
Yeah,
for one thing. And I guess maybe as a casual fan, there's a lot of people who come back and watch WrestleMania every year, or the Royal Rumble, who don't know what's going on. They just like the Royal Rumble because it's a special match, and they like WrestleMania because it's a big show, and it's fine for them. But if you're like me, who kind of keeps tabs on what's going on, I listen to podcasts about it, and I kind of know how.
You like the athleticism of it as well, don't you? You like to see that.
I like to watch good wrestling as well.
Yeah. Some people don't. Some people just want to listen to them slagging each other off for an hour.
Like there's chemistry and storytelling within the match, not just promos. So I just think they're not. I think right now the WWE is pretty creatively bankrupt.
Oh God!
And morally bankrupt.
Yes,
they always have been.
Yeah. Well, they're not. You know, they're earning the most money they've ever earned through TV deals. But when those TV deals
are out,
lapse, I have no idea whether they'll get those kind of deals again because viewing figures are just dropping.
I'll tell you what they'll do. They'll buy AEW or something and just ruin everything.
Well, AEW's owned by billionaire, so hopefully he's
not. Yeah.
Hopefully not. Yeah, but yes, the return of CM Punk has been my highlight of the week. Again, I apologise. I can ramble on for ages about it and how it makes me feel. But
stop apologising. People love passion.
Fucking incredible. So that's I had to talk about it.
Brilliant, mate. Excellent. So what I've been doing from passion to not really passion, I've been playing the Avengers game.
Hi. Were you not there when I talked about this on the pod?
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to explain what it is because we've already discussed it.
Fucking attacked by Daddy Longlegs here.
Oh, what, not Daddy Shortlegs. They'll be getting you soon. But yeah, the Marvel's Avengers on. I think it's on everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and apart from Switch. I got it. I took a plane to Argentina and I picked up a copy for £7. And I thought, £7? What could go wrong?
A lot.
Yeah, man. Like Stig said last time, the story, the main campaign's absolutely fine.
I was going to say you said you were enjoying it.
I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying the campaign. I don't like the actual gameplay between the campaign. That's the issue. I like the story. I like the interactions with the characters. I don't like playing it. I should have just watched it all on YouTube.
Yeah.
For less than £7. But I'm going to push through. I'm nowhere near end because it's a lot longer than I thought.
Like a 22-hour game.
Yeah, but I'm going to push through. All the DLC's free and stuff, so I'm not asked with that. That's fine. I'm not bothered about skins. People paying money for skins. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, don't bother, guys. Not even for £7. But the main thing, I have been playing a game. Some call me a gamer. I don't believe I am, but I have been playing another game for the first time because I've been watching The Walking Dead for a while, haven't I? And I've had to kind of stop watching it for a little bit because it's hard to watch, and I don't mean bad. This gentleman with his baseball bat, Negan, he's a horrible bastard.
So we've heard.
He's a horrible bastard, and he is. It's hard to watch.
Negan, the housewife's favourite.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is sensational, absolutely sensational, but he's frightening.
When you talked about the show, that's what you've been doing a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Has this happened?" Like I kind of alluded to.
Yeah,
no, that's coming up next. That's coming up soon. I was just like, I messaged Biggie privately. I just like, I can't wait for his reaction, and he was just like, "Oh no!"
he killed one of my top 3 favourite characters. I'm not going to say who, but you all know who I'm talking about. What a guy. I miss him dearly, and so do a lot of the characters in that show. He keeps trying to brainwash me as a viewer. Sometimes I'm like, he likes me, and I like him. And then a second later, he's smashed somebody's skull in with a baseball bat. I'm like, oh, God! Don't.
So it's those dreamy eyes that just draw you in,
so
don't
gorgeous. It's unreal. It's like, oh God! But yeah, because of that, I've had like a few days off. I'm gonna push through. Apparently, I'm on a tough season. Season 9. I'm on a tough season, but I'm gonna push through because I've been doing it now. I told you I'm gonna complete it. But I started playing Telltale's The Walking Dead for the first time.
Mm.
Oh, so frying pan meet fire.
That game doesn't run well.
No,
never has done.
However, I'm quite enjoying it.
It's great.
Oh, it's excellent. It's an absolutely brilliant game.
I like the voice acting's almost better than the show. A lot better than Rick Grimes. Andrew Lincoln, a lot better than him.
Clementine.
Clementine is an absolute darling. I will do anything to save that little
Clem's
girl.
amazing.
I'll do anything. I'll take a bullet for her. I'm only on episode 2 of the first season, but I've got them all downloaded thanks to the glory of Game Pass. Everything's on there. And yeah, I'd literally take a bullet for that little girl. She's incredible. I want to protect her. Like when I fucked up because I can't remember his name. Lee, is he called Lee?
Lee, yeah.
I'm playing as Lee, and I'm fucking up because I'm not sticking to my lies that I'm telling people. And people say, "Oh, so that's your daughter?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my daughter." And then next person, I'm like, "No, I'm just babysitting." And then later on, they go, "I thought you told me you were a dad. What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Oh no." So,
You'll sharp start to have that reaction whenever it says X has remembered this.
yeah, it keeps popping up.
Now I've got to remember this.
Like slight spoilers for this 10-year-old game, but on the first episode, you meet Kenny and his son Ken Jr. Now I've got quite a link to those characters, hence because we've got the same name. They called him Duck or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's one section where Herschel's son, Herschel from the show, his son, and Duck, little Kenny Jr., you've got to choose who dies, basically.
Yeah.
And me being the father in real life and the person that believes that everyone should get a chance, he's the younger one. I'm going to save the boy every time. He's annoying as fuck, but I'm going to save the little kid because he hasn't lived as long as Herschel's son. I can't even remember his name with that crap.
So you didn't think to get the cattle gun and go, doof.
Oh, no, not yet. I haven't found a cow gun yet. But I saved this little kid. Herschel's like, get the fuck off my farm now. I'm like, all right, sorry. And then Kenny, Duck's dad, is like, I suppose you did save me son, we'll give you a lift. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I fucking saved your son. And I don't even think he likes his own son. So, it's quite good though, isn't it? Have you all played it?
Yeah,
I haven't played it all the way through. But
I've got a feeling that you could play it a few times and it'd be quite different.
It's the
main story is going to be the same, isn't it?
Yeah. The main story is the same. There are some key events that you will always get.
Yeah.
It's more the kind of the decoration on the outside of those events. That's
Absolutely,
what changes.
Yeah. I do like the fact. I mean, I kind of spoiled it myself because I downloaded all the games at once. I know season 2. It looks as if you're playing as Clem, and I absolutely adore that character. So I'm buzzing about that. Lee, I don't know about Lee, but I do like Lee. But like I say, I'm fucking him up because I'm controlling him. Poor man. But yeah, it's really good, and it's just so glitchy, man. Sometimes
that's the problem, isn't it?
Sometimes you're talking to someone, and their face goes to the back of their head and start.
I remember. So I played through on the PS4 when they did like a whole season on a disc.
Yeah.
I played it on the PS4, and there was a point. I think it's in episode 4, which I won't tell you what happens, but basically it's a thing. You have to set off a series of events going on.
Yeah.
To do a puzzle.
Yeah.
Part of that involves like just a jump scare, just a scripted jump scare. And for me, it kept glitching and wouldn't trigger the end of that quest.
Oh God!
I had to go through that jump scare like 5 times. So it's just because I had to keep trying to get it to go, and eventually it did work. And there was no rhyme or reason. There was no solve on it. You just had to hope the game let you through it.
Yeah.
I think they've since patched that. But yeah, I remember it was just a case of right. You put Lee through, open the door, hi zombie, walk off.
Yeah,
you
feel like Neo for a little bit. I am not going to die. It's just like
they took too much on, didn't they?
It seems like it. Yeah.
Telltale Games ended up doing Borderlands, A Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, Big Wolf. Yeah.
And Game of Thrones. They did something else.
Yeah.
The team couldn't cope, and then they just basically folded in on themselves, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I were a bit confused because this version that I'm playing now, it's by Skybound and Telltale.
So Skybound are now the publisher.
Right, so they did nothing really.
Yeah, basically what happened was when Telltale went belly up a couple of years ago, all the games got pulled out. So Skybound is him who wrote The Walking Dead. That's his studio.
Right.
And basically what they then is they just reissued the games because that was how the final season of The Walking Dead game got finished.
There's a Michonne one, isn't it, as well? 3-episode Michonne one.
And the Batman's really good, by the way.
Yeah, the Batman.
I've got the Batman
really
ones on my Switch, so I'll start them after.
Tales from the Borderlands, the best one they did.
I didn't like Borderlands, but everyone says you don't need to. It's because it's nothing like it, is it?
Now, It's like the origin of Handsome Jack.
I like them because
there's links, but it's very
I
fun.
like them because they do
Game
feel
of
like
Thrones one either.
Is that all right as well? Yeah. I like them because they feel like point and clicks, but without the clunkiness of putting a jam sandwich together to feed a goat or whatever, that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they are just point and clicks.
Yeah.
You just happen to at one occasion you can control them with a stick.
Yeah. It's more conversational point and click, isn't it? Rather than yeah. I like it. It's just I just wish it were a bit more polished because there was at the beginning.
You would think by now it would have been polished.
Yeah, the beginning bit is. You're in a cop car and you obviously...
Can't polish a turd.
Yeah, Lee's done something wrong, he's arrested. And the cop, rather than... Because I've seen it on YouTube, rather than... He's supposed to turn his head to talk to while he's driving. His face just went behind into his own skull and started talking to the character. So obviously the ones and zeros were like... He had to look at him somehow and obviously it was glitched, so we just went... I'm like, what the fuck is Lee on mushrooms?
It's a zombie driving.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is not supposed to happen, but yeah. Other than that, I've not had a crash, which I can take a glitch over a crash any day of the week.
Well, glitches are hilarious, and you just record them for posterity.
If they glitch anything on Clementine, I'll be furious, though. She's just a darling. I love her to bits. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'll continue with that as well, because it's quite easy to play, isn't it? I don't think I can die in it. You can probably get restarts and stuff like that, but... Yeah, it's decent, and they're all there on Game Pass.
Once you finish it, I don't know if the version that you've got has the DLC that came for it. Which
everything,
was,
mate. I've got absolutely every Walking Dead Telltale thing that exists.
So for the first game, there was a DLC called, I think it's 100 Days or 1,000 Days or something like that. Yeah, play that one immediately before you start season 2. It doesn't link into season 2.
Yeah,
it's just a great little vignette.
And there's something like New Frontiers and stuff like that as well, which that's a different one. I'm gonna smash them all. They're not long episodes. An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah,
something like that.
Depends on how stuck you get on a puzzle.
Yeah, I've been stuck a little bit on episode 2, but I'll smash through it. I recommend people to. Apparently, they're on the phones and they run decently on your phone. So get it on your phone. Look it. And I believe the first episode's free on everything.
Yeah.
So give it a try, guys. I know it's yet again finger on the pulse.
Oh yeah, bleeding edge of video gaming from our.
Have you heard of this Oodles? PlayStation Vita? It's going to be amazing. It's going to be massive. But
it's the problem when you play new games that are shit, though, isn't it? It's like,
you've got to play the old ones.
That are good.
12 minutes fucking infuriating me, man. So like, I need this kind of gameplay, but I want a good Metacritic.
Good one.
I want a good one. And that was first thing that popped down. I went, oh God, I like The Walking Dead. And I would just researching, does it spoil the show? And they're like, no, this one made before the show's not even finished now, so get on it. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, but we know what you've all been waiting for. This is the main event. I thought we'd done this topic years ago, months ago, but we haven't. Biggie, tell everyone what we're going to be discussing.
This week, the plan is to thwart our heroes at every turn, to cause chaos and destruction wherever they go, to get the dastardly characters together, all of the villains. It's the best baddies.
Kneel before Biggie.
Oh, Zoom just fucking cut out his audio there.
Yep, and that's going to destroy my ears in the edit.
Everyone in his house is awake now.
You're welcome.
But yes, that's what we've finally got onto it. Baddies, villains, evil nemesis, whatever you want to call them, twats, whatever you want. We're going to
Oodles.
Yeah, I'm not a baddie. I'm more of a non-playable character. I'm just there in the background. But yeah, we're gonna do baddies, and we're gonna start with Gadget. Round table, bring your baddies.
Okay, so I am going to pick more than one baddie because I have to be awkward. In fact, I have to pick a lot of baddies. In fact, one would say I've picked a collective of baddies because I'm picking the Borg.
Oh, you mean a legion?
Excellent.
I thought you were going to say Nazis.
The ultimate fictional baddies.
Well, they were in a few films.
Well, yes, that's true.
More of that later.
Yes.
So the Borg, if you're unaware of them, are one of the creepiest, most unsettling and iconic baddies in the Star Trek canon.
Yeah.
They appeared as in season 1, I think, of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes.
In one of Q's episodes, and they are a race of cybernetically enhanced creatures who are steadily going across the galaxy, assimilating everything in their path.
Yeah, they're horrible bastards.
Yeah, they have their defining features are obviously all of their bodies are cybernetically enhanced, usually with very context-specific tools attached to their arms, eye implants, brain implants,
HDMI cables stuck in their heads.
Yeah, but they're only USB-A. Though.
Oh,
They
that's
haven't got the
true,
USB-C upgrade yet.
Yeah,
But they are operating on 5G because that's how they manage to talk to each other.
that's true.
They are completely impassive to anybody they do not see as a threat, to the point where the crew of the Enterprise, when they first encounter a Borg cube, happen to beam aboard.
Oh yeah.
They wander around quite happily, and the drones ignore them, completely ignore them. However, when they do see you as a threat and they attack, they shuffle towards you like metallic zombies in a rather unsettling way. They have this grey pallid skin also, which kind of doesn't help the look. And they have defenses, so you shoot them with a phaser once and it'll kill one. You shoot the next one, it's adapted to the frequency.
Straight away.
They absorb the shot. Oh, they're so badass. I love the Borg. They fly around space in an enormous cube the size of a planet. What more could you want?
Some bigger than planets.
Some bigger than
Yeah,
planets.
there's massive ones, isn't there? Oh.
And when you get to Star Trek First Contact, which is also, in my mind, the best Star Trek film.
It's my second favourite one, but yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
Second,
Yeah.
after Wrath of Khan.
Absolutely.
You are introduced as a viewer to the Borg Queen.
Oh, what a moment.
Played by Alice Krieg. Krieg, I think.
Who's she?
An actress.
She's a Borg queen. Have some
I
respect.
haven't seen this, so I know what they look like, but I didn't realise.
You'll know as soon as you see a photo, you'll know exactly. You'll have seen that photo before.
When I was reading up about this beforehand, the reason that the Borg Queen was introduced was because in a film like Star Trek First Contact, obviously you're going to get a lot of the civilians in. You're not going to get just Star Trek fans going to see. It's mostly going to be Star Trek fans, but you need to account for something like the Borg, who are a kind of difficult concept to wrap your head around, especially with all the lore implications with them. You need something for the characters to talk to. You need a baddie. So the Borg Queen was conceived as a personification of the collective. Her original intent, which I think Voyager walked back when they brought Alice Krieg back, her original intent was not to be the leader of the Borg. She's supposed to be a representation of the entire collective.
It's like an emissary, isn't it, rather than a queen?
Yeah, which is what Jean-Luc Picard was supposed to be when he got assimilated into the Borg as Locutus of Borg.
Yes.
Which, Locutus in Latin means he who speaks.
Yes.
He became the spokesman for the Borg.
Star Trek is not nerdy, guys. It's educational.
It's fantastic. But the thing that everyone always remembers of the Borg is just their rallying cry when they say to you that your unique properties will be assimilated into their culture.
Yeah.
And resistance is futile. And it's so good.
Remember when back in, like, you as you all listeners know, I started watching Star Trek from the beginning last year, and I've seen everything. So I'm very fresh on Star Trek. But I remember, like, late 90s, resistance is futile, T-shirts everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Borg went ballistic. They were bigger than Daleks and everything. They were massive.
It is such
Borg are brilliant.
a great saying that
It is a great saying.
transcended the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you hear the dialogue, when you hear the first time that you hear it, because whenever the Borg do the communications with the Enterprise or what have you, the way the production design is done, because it's a collective, they've layered about 30 voices on top of each other, then digitized it.
Which other things
so it
have
comes off
copied
as this.
since.
Yeah, it comes off as this distorted,
they're brilliant.
terrifying resistance is futile. It's so impassive and so uncaring about life. You know, they just see a civilization or a race that has something they want, and they just take it.
Yeah.
And in the Star Trek canon, there is one species that are resistant to the Borg that the Borg are actually scared of. Which is, now this is going to be my nerdiest thing, that is in Voyager, and it's species 8472.
Yeah.
Who are a psychic race, and they can think into the collective. And I believe,
which is their only like weakness.
Why? Surely they wouldn't be fans of the Q.
Yeah, that's true.
No, they don't see Q as a threat. Because Q's
It's not asked with him, is it? It's not asked with him.
The Q collective, the Q continuum, rather, doesn't exist in the same plane of reality as the Borg do. He just nips in to fuck around with Picard every so often.
Right. I'm so glad he's back. I know that's sort of topic.
Yeah, I know.
And he has a little John Delancey has a little guest spot in Lower Decks, didn't he?
Yes.
The end of one of the episodes.
Yes, wow, that was so big. We never talked about that. We're like, what?
But yeah, I mean, the Borg have appeared in almost every Star Trek. I mean, they were in Deep Space Nine for all of 5 minutes because
we have to talk.
Sisko's...
We have to talk about 7 of 9, surely. Former Borg. Former Borg.
Well, yes, 7 of 9 I kind of want to avoid because she's no longer Borg. She's a rescued drone.
Yeah, but I just like
Voyager
to talk
rescues.
about her.
I know. I know. The source of many teenage boys' posters.
I'm an adult, mate, when I first saw her.
But 7 of 9 is an interesting one because of her entire story is her rehabilitation from being a Borg, finding out who she was as a human, finding out she was assimilated as a child.
Human.
Well, finding out that she was assimilated as like a 6-year-old or something, and
something like that.
But the thing with the Borg is when they assimilate a child, they put them in what the show calls maturation chambers to basically
adultify
speed up your aging.
Yeah,
to adultify them. So it's not really confirmed when she became a Borg.
No.
It's hard to work it out, just that she was a child when she was taken. And yeah, I mean, Jerry Ryan plays her really well, and you get some interesting drama and also some interesting comedy with her trying to fit into being a solitary unit as opposed to
carbon-based
rather than
what you just said then is like pretty despicable. Not just taking a child and humans, but like aging her up.
They don't have morals.
Not letting them. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes them such a great villain. It's like not even letting them have a childhood or teenage years
or a life,
or a life. And even if they do get like fixed, in easiest of terms, then they've still missed out on so much.
Well, yeah. Aside from Picard and 7 of 9, there is also Hugh.
Who
was in iBorg.
Yes,
and he was the first one that was kind of deborged.
Say.
And he had to relearn how to be a human, as did 7 of 9. Picard, when he became Locutus, that was a unique case because he was allowed to retain some of his personality because he was the spokesman for the Borg.
And plus,
for the Federation.
Patrick Stewart's a great actor. You don't want to waste him.
Well, absolutely not. But also in kind of my initial reading up on this one, I've forgotten this one because I blocked it out of my memory. The Borg do feature in Star Trek Enterprise.
Yes.
You know, the one with the theme tune.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Because they find the sphere from First Contact.
And they mention the fact that they talk about the Borg being a force of, I think it's something like a force of nature, but not nature, like a force of cyber nature. Some shite Enterprise fucking analogy because it's a shite show. But I thought you were quite interesting.
Do I put the theme tune in the edit?
No. It's horrible.
No, I won't. But yeah, so
like the patrons can have that when they find
Curse you, Scott Bakula.
You ruined the franchise.
Oh boy.
But and yeah, I love the Borg. I think they're one of those. I don't know if you guys ever did this as a kid, but if there was something that you found scary, did you kind of obsess over it slightly?
Aliens,
like for instance,
also aliens.
I remember when Resident Evil 2 came out, and there was the review in Official PlayStation Magazine, and it had loads of the zombie artwork in it.
It's so good artwork.
Terrified me.
Yeah.
But I read through those pages repeatedly, just staring at these images. They scared the shit out of me. And it's the same with the Borg. The Borg fascinated me in so many different ways because I found them so unbelievably terrifying.
Yeah, it's because it's like it's that uncanny valley. Like it's like having a fight with a laptop that's sentient, but also 6 feet tall and just kill you. It's the most terrifying thing you can think of. It's horrible.
Well, yeah, I think it's that stripped away humanity. Like most baddies, like. Especially with Star Trek baddies. Star Trek baddies operate on generally human principles.
Mate, they're all Shakespearean baddies, aren't they?
Exactly. Whereas the Borg are just so different to anything else.
Yeah.
They are probably the most alien thing in Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
I love
They're
them.
better than the Klingons baddies and stuff like that. I know the Klingons aren't always baddies, but everyone remembers Klingons. No, the Borgs outshine everything.
Klingons are like just stereotypical
angry bastards.
like
Warrior
angry
race kind of
bad
thing.
guys. Yeah, like
They've always got nuance. Even though from face value, they've got no personality. But that is their personality that they haven't got. It's scary as fuck. They're horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, great. And like I say, the way Alice Creech played the Queen.
Yeah.
Like just go on YouTube and look up some clips of the Borg Queen, because she plays it so well. She's so insidious, and so there's kind of this weird hypersexualization of her, but then also this sinisterness, and she literally gets under Data's skin because she gives him skin.
It's her stares,
gives
mate.
him
It's
his
her stares.
emotions.
It's her eyes that does it for me. It's them.
Oh,
how she
yeah.
can look through your soul.
Yeah, absolutely. She's so fucking good.
Yeah. Watch that film. It's fucking brilliant. Ooh. Yeah, great pick. Biggie, follow that.
I'll try. My pick, I alluded to this gentleman with my quote at the beginning. It is Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Hey, bitch.
So, for those who may or may not remember who he is a fictional character from a Nightmare on Elm Street film series. He first appeared in Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street in '84 as the spirit of a serial killer who used a gloved hand with razors to kill his victims in their dreams, causing their deaths in the real world as well. He's very iconic with Freddy because obviously he has this glove with the blades. He has that battered sort of fedora.
Red and green jumper.
He's got the red and green jumper. As a silhouette, he looks frightening. When you actually see him up close, he's got all his burnt
He's fucking
skin.
horrible.
He's just, everything about him is just terrifying. And the fact that he's not even real, he appears in people's dreams, that subconscious level of a villain, I just think is just awesome. And I remember seeing this when I was way too young to see, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, man.
So in the dream world, he's really powerful and almost completely invulnerable. However, when Freddy's pulled into the real world by those that have the gift,
He's crap.
he has normal human
Yeah,
vulnerabilities and can technically be destroyed. The original film introduced his backstory as the Springwood slasher, a serial killer of children who had been burned to death by his victim's parents after he evaded prison.
Yeah.
He obviously made those knives himself in this boiler room, which is really horrific when they show his backstory. Just everything about this guy is just nasty.
Scary janitor
gnarly.
type thing.
Yeah, he's introduced as that child killer, but there's actually a backstory to him when they obviously do a bit of history as to actually how he became who he is. And it turns out that in one of the movies, Freddy's mother was a nun.
Yes.
At an asylum. At the time that she worked there, which was largely abandoned, it was an asylum. It was used as a lockup for hordes of the most insane criminals all at once. And then when Amanda was young, she was accidentally locked into a room with the criminals over a holiday weekend.
Fuck.
I'm sorry why I'm laughing.
God.
Bank holiday.
Awful.
See you on
They
Tuesday.
They managed to keep her hidden for days,
Wow.
raping her repeatedly.
Yeah, it's horrible.
When she was finally discovered, she was barely alive and pregnant.
Yeah.
And with the result that Krueger is regarded as the son of 100 homicidal maniacs,
Yeah.
due to it being impossible.
They call him the devil's
which
seed
of
and
the
stuff like that.
rapists was his father.
Yeah.
It's just this horrific backstory.
Okay. So just in writing Freddy Krueger's backstory, because I haven't seen the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I've had no interest.
Loads
I
of them
much
are
prefer.
great.
You've not seen some great films.
I know, they're
That's
great,
my-
mate.
I much prefer Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace, where it's groundskeeper Willie gets to do the whole thing.
Just the first one is all you need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
two
into
was
his
good.
backstory, just go with the layers of his backstory there that you've described. So he was a serial killer of children.
Yes.
Pretty bad.
Well,
He evaded prison.
He evaded prison, but
So the parents of the children that he killed
burned him
tracked
alive.
him down and burned
and
him
he wants
alive.
revenge by killing their kids.
Yes.
Okay, but then filter down a level below that of his parentage.
He is the son of
It's-
100 rapists, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
The devil's
when they're
seed.
when they're writing that, do you think they just sat there just with like a pen and paper going, says, "Yes, it's not awful enough. What more? Bring rape into it."
Somebody ring
It's always
Clive
bad
back.
when there's rape
We need
involved.
something else.
It's just it's one of those
so
backstories that
over
you
the
just
top.
don't need. It's like you've got the perfect backstory.
Yeah,
It's just a bad.
in the
he's just
first
a
one,
bad
there's no
person.
backstory. There's
Yeah,
no
he's just a
backstory.
bad person who got away with something, doing something horrid,
Yeah.
and people took vigilantes, took it out on him.
The
It's fine.
The point I'm trying to get at is when you do a backstory like that, you're trying to predispose someone towards evil. People can just be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like and there is no supernatural reason why whatever trauma that his mother had gone through
Oh, no, it's
would
fucking
have
wild.
that effect on him.
It's wild, isn't
And
it?
it's so stupid.
But this is the thing, because, like Sticky says, the first movie is excellent.
Yeah.
And
Standalone
then
is
The
incredible.
second movie had its moments, then it sort of pulled it back on the third
What,
movie.
Dream Warriors?
Dream Warriors
But
is
as-
great.
It's not.
It's not bad.
It's
It-
that
it's
bit
not
with the
bad,
Gadget,
Vins.
it's like D&D.
but
The bit with the Vins. Is,
after that, it just deteriorated.
there's a wizard
to
in
the
it,
point
Gadget.
where Freddy became like a caricature of himself,
Yeah.
basically.
Would have became
Yeah.
a demon
He had
rather than just a
one-liners,
spirit,
it was-
didn't it? Like,
Yeah, it just got to a point where they tried to make him almost a bit like Arnie with all these sort of one-liners.
yeah,
and it
yeah,
just-
they did, yeah.
It lost the scary side of it, and I haven't seen the new one, to be fair, so I don't know if they.
The new ones
they
are
kept
darker,
that.
mate. The backstory's even worse. I don't even want to describe what his backstory is in the newer ones. Horrible,
Okay.
horrible shit.
I
Well, I
think
did want
that's
to
the
mention that,
trouble
sorry,
with that's the trouble with giving him a backstory so horrific like that is they actually do juxtapose a little bit of humor in it. Is it's like, do you want to be absolutely horrific or do you want to be
Take your pick.
somewhat of a comedy?
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoyed Freddy versus Jason as well, though. Like if you're talking about the
Oh
new
yeah,
ones, I thought
he
that
met
was
Jason
quite clever.
Voorhees.
Yeah, I thought that was quite clever how they managed to kind of repress him and he made it back. But I remember watching Freddy at the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was way too young to watch it. And just that silhouette of him walking down the
Big long
street with his arms
arms. Yeah,
outstretched,
yeah.
and just that sound like walking down the alley, and
scrape
it
of his
haunts
nails.
me.
The
even
original,
now.
the
And it-
original Nightmare on Elm Street is like it's akin to like it's not as good as, but it's akin to like Halloween, where
Yeah.
it's just you don't need that much backstory to it. In Halloween, you just know a fucking
Michael's
mad
evil.
Yeah, Michael's evil. He's evil. You don't need to know that he's related to what's the name in it?
He's not related to her.
I
No,
thought
no,
he is
no.
in the
Not now.
backstory. Oh, is he
No.
not now? Fuck.
That's been retconned with the new
Oh,
ones.
good. But in
Yeah.
the original Nightmare on Elm Street, he is just a spirit of vengeance,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Agreed.
Wes Craven's new Nightmare, Biggie?
Oh,
Yes.
that's the
Yeah, 'cause
fourth
that's
wall breaking
really
one,
good.
isn't it?
That's
And that
that's
was
really
all
good, that one,
breaking
actually.
the fourth wall,
Yeah.
and it was all that was quite clever.
Yeah.
Well,
I've done a very
explain it to
quick
Gadget
list.
really quick. What that new Nightmare? It's a good one to
So the
watch.
new
It's
Nightmare
a good one to watch.
is having the story of Nightmare on Elm Street, but in real life.
Robert Englund
where
playing
it's the-
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund, who plays Freddy in real life,
Nancy
is
is
being trapped by the sort of spirit of Freddy Krueger. So everything.
I
in
quite like the sound of that.
It's
That
good,
sounds
it's good.
nice and meta.
It's
It's,
good.
It is.
yeah, it's all meta.
Wes
It's
Craven's
really
in it, for
funny.
fuck's sake.
Wes Craven's in
Yeah.
it, like the woman who plays Nancy, I
Yeah.
forget her name, sorry, she plays herself. But then she
Herself,
starts
yeah.
to become Nancy. People start to then start calling her Nancy. And like
Yeah.
she's like they start to slip into the actual Nightmare on Elm Street characters as the film goes on, and Freddy starts to become real.
And the
like,
Freddy
in the
Krueger
real
in
world.
that film is the scariest looking Freddy Krueger they've ever done.
Yeah,
It's
and they gave him an extra.
terrifying.
They gave him an extra finger. like
Yeah, they
claw
did.
on his thumb.
Yeah, horrible, horrible, scariest
But
looking one.
I've done a very quick list of what I think are the best kills.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
So in the first movie, we had a couple with the girlfriend Tina
Yep.
being dragged up the wall across the ceiling before she gets gutted, crashes into the bed with blood spraying everywhere.
Yep.
Then her boyfriend, Johnny Depp,
Johnny Depp.
in one of his first ever film movies, Glenn falling asleep and then being pulled into the mattress by Freddy, disappearing. So you don't actually see what happens to him. Then a big fountain of blood
Yeah.
just sprays out forever,
endless blood.
which just looks incredible. It's
looks like
almost
Ribena.
a gazer. In the third movie, Taryn, being a recovering drug addict, been injected by Freddy's knives, which are turned into
Thanks.
needles,
Yeah.
killing her with an overdose.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. The TV.
Jennifer was killed by her obsession with being on TV.
Yeah.
And Freddy, while she's watching a TV, she falls asleep. The TV comes to life with arms, grabs her, and
Mate,
shoves her.
the third
into
film's
the
like
TV.
fucking Willy Wonka. It's ridiculous.
But the one that Stiggy alluded to, which is my favourite, is the one that gives me the chills even to this
Puppet
day.
Master
It's
Phil.
Awful.
Philip,
It's awful.
who creates these marionettes out of paper,
Yeah.
is killed by Freddy, turning into one of the puppets, then becoming the puppet master, and literally cuts out the tendons of Philip's arms and legs, and then parades him like a puppet,
Yeah.
leads him up to a roof, slices through the veins, and he falls off a building to his death.
It's-
It's just
It's brilliant to
gruesome as
watch when you're having like Sunday dinner. You got the kids round. You've got your grandma around.
But that feeling of something about the tender, I don't know what it is. It just makes me just.
Yeah.
The third one's
Yeah.
clever by the fact that because they're in an asylum, aren't they? And he makes all the deaths look like suicide, apart from pulling someone into the TV on the wall.
Yeah.
That's really drops the ball. That's really
Could have
drops
fallen
the ball.
off.
Yeah, could have done. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, I think he's just iconic, and unfortunately, his power, his fearsomeness, just dampened as the movies went on. But originally, for me, he was one of the most iconic villains of its time.
It is one of those things, the longer series like that goes on, the less impact that he has, because you see more about it and you learn more about it. It's like the whole thing with Jaws. Jaws is impactful because you only see the shark at the very end of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of thing. The more that you see Freddy, the more that you learn about him and his backstory, the less power that he'll have to shock.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
the filmmakers then try to do more and more gruesome or more and more impactful kills or whatever, but it just becomes a parody. I just Google how many films there are with Freddy Krueger in. There are 10 of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is a parody film called Stan Helsing.
He's in that. I've seen that.
Well,
before.
that'll be more just a piss take of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Well, it will be, but it's the
Played
fact
by
that
him.
if you're taking this character and you're putting him into a parody, it means you've become the parody.
Yeah.
And I did like the remake where they tried to. I don't like the remake, but I like the fact that the remake tried to make it more serious again.
Grounded, yeah.
Yeah, they went back to it trying to be a horror film and not a slapstick horror film.
You weren't giggling all the way through it, were you?
That's the problem you get with the likes of Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and Jason Voorhees. The more sequels they got, the more stupid it became.
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding when they were like, the final Friday the 13th, and then there's 5 more films after it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, come on now. Oh, Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to New York. Or Jason Goes to Space.
They did that. Jason Takes Manhattan. Apart from the fact that he's only in Manhattan for 10 minutes of the film.
It's so fucking stupid.
Doesn't take Manhattan at all.
No,
Scares a few ruffians on the street. Ruffians, I don't know what the word. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a bit.
These characters become these kind of cultural icons. You can walk into a forbidden planet and just pick up a Freddy Krueger doll now and stuff like that. And
kids know who he is. That's what's weird.
Kids know who he is. It's you look at the original film and what you've described. It sounds like a video nasty. And that was
the first one. Kind of is.
Yeah. But that's the appeal of them back then.
Yeah.
But now when you've got highfalutin production values and stuff, it just loses all its power.
The difference with the different type of films are you go to your original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's an art film. Nightmare on Elm Street is fucking stupid.
At least it did spawn Scary Terry. So
it did
for that.
Scary Terry.
Well, that's it as well. When Biggie brought up Freddy Krueger, the first thing I thought was Scary Terry.
It's more or less
just walking around calling everyone bitches.
The thing is, apart from the remakes of Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, by the end of his term, like Freddy vs. Jason, I think that was his last original Robert Englund one.
Yeah.
He was a Looney Tunes character. He was just a cartoon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's
It's a real
weird.
shame.
But yeah, good pick though, man. Good pick. As much as it's controversial and it's a bit dated as a fit, but yeah, I still think you could still get a chill down your spine thinking about some of the early Freddy antics. And as I mean, in the lore, by the end you find out he's a demon or something like that. But yeah, he's good, brilliant. I like that. So Candy, follow that.
Well, I'm going to go for the fear-inducing antagonist of Final Fantasy VII and subject of many a body pillow. I'm talking about the one-winged angel himself, Sephiroth.
Cue music.
Who's that?
Oh God!
Stop it!
Get out!
Genuinely, I've been winding them up because I keep saying who knew. I was like, it's him. It was like, I don't know who that is. But I genuinely only knew who this person was last year when he got mentioned in the Discord. So,
That is crazy. You didn't know who Sephiroth was until that point. I think my mum knows who he is. She's never
My mum
played a game in her
definitely
life.
that's just you probably talking to her about it all the time. She's like, yes, dear.
I'm like, Mum,
yes,
this is my
dear."
boyfriend.
It took me 24 years to find out actually what happened to him. But
Yes.
Yeah, and the rest of us never got to see it.
It was described very well, though.
Yes.
I know this is going to be a few listeners' pick, so I'm going to try my best to not do a disservice. But I'm with Biggie. I actually I didn't finish it till about 5 years ago, and because of that, I think it probably maybe better equipped than I would have been when I was younger to understand what made him such a compelling
nuances, isn't
villain.
there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say at this point, I'll be spoiling parts of the story, but it is a 25-year-old game.
Just do it. No, you will never play it.
I'm not breaking the klaxon out for this one.
No,
But it's not going to bother me.
by now.
put the klaxon
I'll
away.
say it now. It kills
I don't know
Aerith.
the ending
Fucking kills her.
because we couldn't see it.
I'm not going to be talking about later game spoilers anyway, but I think part of what makes him such a threat is how he's introduced to the player in the game.
Yeah.
As I was saying, you're not actually introduced to Sephiroth himself until you don't come face to face with him till about a third of the way
Not
through
the real
the game.
Sephiroth, anyway.
Not the real Sephiroth.
Yeah.
But until that point, he's only introduced through flashbacks and basically of following his path of destruction.
Yeah.
It's a clever use of mystery and fear of the unknown, and by the time you finally do meet him, you've got a very clear idea of how powerful he is and just how capable he is and what he's capable of. So, as I said, I am going to have to cover some of the first parts of the game, but I think most gamers know the main sort of beats of the story at this point anyway. The first quarter of the game is spent portraying the sort of nefarious mega corporation of Shinra as the main opposition of the game. So it's spent the time spent depicting just how powerful this company is and what destruction they're causing of the planet. At this time, Sephiroth, he's just a shadow in the background. You hear his name in passing. He's a legendary, ex-soldier.
Yeah.
But you don't know much about him, other than he's just this kind of shadowy background figure.
Isn't it the plot, basically the remake at the moment at this point?
They've changed it all
Remake
up,
that came
though.
out. This is
Yeah.
all
Now,
was
I
he
was going
introduced
to
early in
Very early.
He
First hour.
is.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to cover the original Final Fantasy VII because I
You
don't
mean the good
think
one?
we actually, I don't think we really know where the remake's going to go yet. And if I am thinking myself that it's actually a sequel rather than a reboot.
It is. Multiverse type sequel thing. Integral
Exactly.
type thing. Yeah.
And I won't talk about why I think that is because it could be spoilery. Anyway, back to Final Fantasy VII. Now, what you have to remember is that, with the exception of the first bombing mission, the player and and your team, they're completely unsuccessful in preventing any destruction that Shinra causes. They still drop the plate on Sector 7 when they infiltrate the Shinra building and try to rescue Aerith, however you want to say it. They fail at that as well, and this is a whole team of players, and you've been playing for a while at this point. And because of the writing, it effectively makes the player feel like they're a completely unstoppable force.
Yeah.
And our first experience as a player, being in the presence of Sephiroth, is waking up in the Shinra cells with your door unlocked. There's creepy music playing in the background, and just
He's freed you,
silence.
hasn't he? Which is weird.
He's
He's
yeah.
got you out of prison, which is really weird.
Because why wouldn't you? There's nothing left.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. So a force so powerful, even Shinra is unable to contain it. As it infiltrated the building, left nothing but dead bodies and a trail of blood leading up to the top floor. Now, when
quite dark actually for an RPG at that point.
It is. It is really dark. Yeah.
There are really dark elements in that game. Much more so, I think, than Final Fantasy VIII and subsequent Final Fantasies.
One of the darkest ones.
Yeah, it definitely is,
Tonally.
especially at that point. So when we finally get to the President Shinra's office, we see his body kind of slumped over his desk with Sephiroth's Masamune.
Yeah, big
his
sword.
massive sword sticking out the back, and it's actually said that only Sephiroth can wield that sword.
Because it's stupid big.
It's like it's about 6 foot. It's taller than Sephiroth.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
Oh, God.
It's a toothpick for Stigveld.
And in the corner of the room, we just have it was Palmer, isn't it? He's just
Palmer.
kind of
Yeah.
cowering and revealing that it was Sephiroth who single-handedly took out the entire Shinra building. And even at this point, Sephiroth, he's a complete mystery to
You
us.
still haven't seen him.
You haven't seen him as a
Yeah,
player.
you don't know what he looks like. Anything.
Yeah. Now the game moves on at this point to a part where Cloud kind of he recalls a time on his mission with Sephiroth. He come across enemies who they'll one-shot Cloud, but they'll barely touch Sephiroth.
When you did that Green Dragon fight with him. It's,
Done.
it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Your hit point is like 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kills it in 2 slashes. Yeah.
But then, when you confront Sephiroth, you have an understanding of just how hopeless it would have been for Cloud and what he would have felt at that point. And that's at the point where he loses his memories and just how powerful he is and why he should
He's
be
fucking
feared.
floating, so he's not human. He can float and fly.
Well, absolutely. And this is around the point in the game where we learn that he's more than just a man.
Yes.
And through learning his own history,
Yes.
he not only becomes slightly unhinged, he becomes completely enraged with the human race, and he does gain a somewhat justified god complex.
Oh, yeah.
And as I said, I'm not going to get into the later game spoilers, but I think it's up for debate on who's actually pulling the strings behind Sephiroth.
I think it's still one of those things, because don't get me wrong, there is a sequel to the game called Advent Children. Oh, it's making me shiver. And that kind of...
Sorry, I thought that was just like a fan thing.
Oh,
That can't be real.
it makes me shiver. Which,
Is it good? I haven't seen it.
no,
Fuck no.
it ruins everything about that game.
It
Oh,
looks
really?
pretty at the
It's
time, and that's
gorgeous.
as far as it
Yeah.
goes.
But no,
It's got a great battle sequence at the end.
yes,
Fuck me, the
game,
story's terrible.
the game itself, it does that thing where you're always, even to the last minute, Biggie, recently, you're always up against the odds. And you've got, the whole game is such for most of the game, the main character, Cloud, is such an unreliable narrator. He's like, is he making this legend up?
Yeah.
And then you see the legend and it's like, oh no, he's not telling us enough. The legend's...
His own flashbacks are confusing.
Yeah, his own flashbacks.
Yeah.
And the legend, the actual truth is worse than the legend.
One of my favorite demonstrations in the game of just how powerful Sephiroth is when you're kind of first in the world map and you're exploring around just past the first Chocobo farm. There's this area where it's like the swamp, and if you run in there, you get attacked by this really powerful kind of
Midgarzolum.
Yep.
worm creature thing.
Yeah.
It's enormous, and you can beat it early game. It's not advisable to try.
Oh,
though.
you don't get much.
The whole point is
not enough XP for killing it either for your time.
Yeah. The whole point of that sequence is to like force you to learn how to breed a chocobo, so you can ride a chocobo over and not have to worry about it. You come past it later in the game, and you walk into the field, and you've been told that Sephiroth has already come through here, and there's this cutscene where you just see it spike through a tree.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And it's just-
kebabbed.
Absolutely come out, and it's like
That's one man.
It's one of those times, one of the first times, in a game that I've actually sat there and went, "Wow, that's actually intimidating."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
want
spent
to
so
fight
much time
Sephiroth,
being
yeah.
told earlier on that this thing will fuck
And at
you
that
up.
point, you still don't know what he looks like. He could be anybody. Because you haven't.
No.
Oh no, you've seen the flashback, haven't you?
You haven't counted him. It's before you get the high wind, but it's like towards the end of the first disc. When you have to go back through there.
It's muddled in my brain because I ain't played it for years. But yeah, I do like that for a while, for a lot of the game, you are in his shadow all the time.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so fucking cool.
Well, I mean, and it is revealed that there's a reason that Cloud is constantly chasing Sephiroth as well, other than what he's kind of entangled in. So I think that's just why he's such an intimidating presence, because for a good majority of the game, you just don't know anything about him, and it's the fear of the unknown that really it does make you fearful of what he's capable of. And you can, if you know a bit about a baddie, you can sometimes start to relate to them a little bit. You may still fear them slightly, but you can sometimes respect them or understand their intentions. But not with Sephiroth. There's just absolutely nothing that you can kind of relate to.
No. Yeah.
with the exception of the story as well, or I should say, as well as the story, he looks really intimidating as well, despite being a bit of a pretty boy.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
Oh, he's gorgeous. 6'1", has a sword at least.
Lovely silver hair.
He does, and it's actually explained in one of the games how he looks after his luxurious hair as well. But yeah, his I couldn't find an actual measurement of his sword. Oh, matron. But it says it's between 6 and 8 feet.
Just like Stig,
most sources. Yes.
The thing is, though, you're playing as Cloud,
Yep.
and Cloud is iconic as an image. But I think Sephiroth ended up
surpasses him
again, smashing that out of the park. When you see that flashback of him with the fire behind him, that image is just everywhere, and it again is really intimidating.
Yeah,
it's one of the first times I've seen someone stand in front of flames like that. And I was just like, ooh.
I mean, you say that, but I know who Cloud was. I didn't know who Sephiroth was.
Really?
Last year.
Maybe it's because he's on some of the box arts and stuff. And
Cloud's everywhere, like for Final Fantasy for
that's true.
years.
That's true.
I think gamers know who.
Yeah, but I
think it'll have been something that you'll have seen the image of, but you don't know that it's Sephiroth.
Yeah.
The thing with Sephiroth is as a character, just as a striking like piece of art, like Amano and what's his name, Nomura, who designed him. They, as much as it was a massive success, they have never been able to capture a good villain since.
No, they haven't.
Because it was so like they did before. Like you had Golbez, you had Kefka and stuff on the older games, but they were pixels, they were sprites. They've never been able to capture that, and that's why I believe the legacy of that game far surpasses what that game actually is. I think that the design of the game is and him especially, and Cloud as well, because people forget like throughout that game it's a terribly, the graphics are shite. I've said it before.
Oh yeah,
but it's what it evokes. It's fucking
charming.
Charming.
I think the problem as well is the Final Fantasy games after 7. They tend to go along the lines of like the small toppling the large, but it's always a kingdom or a king or something like that. Whereas they moved away from you doing the anime thing of killing a god.
Yeah, you know? Yes.
And it's rarely one enemy as well. Like in the following games,
it's like an organization, isn't it?
Yeah. So in 8, you've got Idea, but it's not Idea, and
Ultimecia.
then it's Ultimecia, and originally it's Cypher, isn't it? That you think is going to be the main
and then in 9 it's Kuja, and then it turns into at the very end Necron or something that just turns up.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember who the antagonist of
Garland.
9 was. So
I can't either. I've not finished it.
I think it's Garland.
And then 10.
So you see, that's the thing. You get all these forgettable abstractions of these things, whereas Sephiroth is something that you spent, as you said, Candy, you spend like the good first 14, 20 hours of the game never actually really seeing him, but you get like flashes of like him, like Cloud's memories or him talking to that, whatever, when the screen grays out and you get a little bit of text.
Yeah. It got close with 10, but it was a force of nature rather than a person.
Whereas when you can latch onto someone like Sephiroth, who is, for all intents and purposes, described as an amazing warrior, but when you
honourable
then
as well.
the god powers, it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, oh shit.
And like, then they dovetailed it into, you find out the connection with Genova, and you see the whole... the mummy issues that he has.
Big style.
Yeah. And then you just see the capability for murder that he has, and his impassive, again, with like the Borg, his impassiveness to human life.
I think he's
such a calm, collected rage.
He's top 5 game baddies, I think.
Yeah, and it's a classic like goodie versus baddie as well, isn't it?
It's so classic. It's brilliant. Yeah, Sephiroth's a great pick. Stig, just watch some videos on him. You don't have to play the game. He's incredible. You'd like him.
Play the game.
Super camp.
Never
Brilliant.
Play it.
What are you bringing to the table then, Stig?
I'm going to talk about Anton Chigurh.
Oh yes, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Portrayed by Javier Bardem in 2007 Coen Brothers film No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
Has everyone here seen this?
Yes.
I have not. I've seen the haircuts.
It's one of my idols.
I would have expected you to have seen it, Candy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible.
I'll try to avoid going through some spoilers then, but Anton is a ruthless hitman who is unwavering and unstoppable.
He's a bit like a Terminator, isn't he?
He is. He is very much like a Terminator. As a villain, he's chilling, intense, and scary. He's sadistic, cold-blooded, unsympathetic. Everything you can think of, like we're describing someone as being.
He's got worse hair than me as well.
A horrible bastard. He is. Yeah, his hair is terrible. He's motionless and antisocial, and he just likes killing people.
He's good at it.
I was reading some stuff about him. His powers and skills are described as high intelligence, great endurance, marksmanship, high degree of improvisation, professional tracking, and intimidation. And his hobbies: killing, deciding people's fates, and wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
And hiking.
He likes to walk as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's Judge, Judy, and executioner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And he's got Oodles' favourite
Yes!
weapon.
But I love the way that he never gets angry.
He doesn't sweat, mate. He doesn't
Calm,
sweat.
He's cool and collected. When he talks, when he talks, he says it in ways that just kind of goes right through your soul.
Yeah.
As we've talked, the weapon there, his main weapon of choice is a captive bolt pistol.
Cowgun, baby!
Basically, yeah, he walks around with this little cow gun with a little gas canister, and he uses it to blow out like locks and doors to get entrance to places.
Skulls.
Or in people's skulls.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
There is. I'm going to spoil this bit. Sorry, but there is one bit. Right, this is from right at the beginning. You kind of see how
Evil he is, yeah.
evil he is when, after the first killing, the second one, to get away, he obviously hijacks someone's car,
Oh, God, yeah.
and tells the man, he's like, "Step out the car, please, sir," because he's stolen the police car.
Yeah,
So
he's
like,
got
"Step
lights
out
on, hasn't he? Woo,
Step
pull
out the
over.
car, please, sir. And he's like, "Oh, what's the issue?" He's like, "Just step out the car, please, sir." And he's just like, just hold still. Stay there. And he just puts the car gun up to his forehead, and the guy's like, "What? Bang!" And just shoots it right through his brain.
So good.
Has no care for human life whatsoever.
I love it.
It's like from that moment at the beginning with his first kill, and with that one, you just know that this guy is just a horrible human
I think
being.
a massive moment before that as well is when he's in the convenience store and he's chatting to that man, and he obviously, I'm not going to
Is
spoil.
that before or after?
That's
I
been
thought it was later
just
on.
before. Maybe no, I'm not sure,
No,
but
I'm pretty sure that's when he's on his way.
yeah, and he just has that conversation. It's just a conversation, isn't
The
it?
conversation is
so intimidating.
yeah. He's
Oh, he's horrible.
so he's so unhinged that he likes to play games with some of his victims by making them flip a coin.
Yeah, choose your
And
fate.
you'll choose your fate, basically. It's a bit of a rip off of Harvey Dent.
Yeah,
but
but Harvey Dent
done
was so
so much
camp in
better.
comparison.
Yeah, but he lets the other person choose their fate. This isn't I'll flip a coin if it lands on this, and I'm
Yeah.
going to kill you. Like he lets the people choose heads or tails, and it's no more so like Oodles said in the gas station.
Yeah.
Where the scene is so intense, he's on the cusp of killing this gas attendant because of some small talk.
Yeah.
The guy just asks him a simple question.
Because when do you finish?
He's-
When time do you close? Where do you live? That kind of thing.
Yeah, he's like, no, so he says, he sees the plates on the car he's stolen, and he's like,
That's it.
"Oh, you're going to get rain." He's like, "Oh, you're from Texas or somewhere,
Yeah.
Dallas or somewhere." He's like, "What concern is it of you where I'm from?"
Yeah.
And he just stares through the guy, like it's just the way he talks and the things he's saying to the guy, and the guy's just getting more and more nervous, but he's just never, his eyes just don't leave it. I mean, I'm sure if I watched that scene back and looked, he might not even be blinking, to be honest. Like
I don't think he does. And
it stares through this guy in the gas
I need to
station.
rewatch
there's that
this. I only
moment
saw it
when
it
there's that
first
moment
came
when
out.
that the store clerk says he says, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to close now," and he has that little grin, and it's the only tiniest little grin he ever has.
Yeah.
And it's like, "Fuck, what's gonna happen?"
Yeah, he's like, I've got to close now. It's like, oh, what time do you close?
Yeah, this is not time for a closing. No one
Yeah,
closes
it's
at
like-
this time.
Basically, that's what he's alluding to. He's like, oh, when it gets dark and you look outside, it's still light outside. He's supposed to like, just kind of like, get out of my store because
Yeah.
you are scaring me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant.
And I was going to quote the lines from that scene, but I'm not going to bother doing that. But it's just when he starts talking about the coin toss and what it could mean to the guy and how far that coin has travelled to be in this one place at this one time
Yeah,
to
fate.
decide this guy's fate. And just
Oh shit! Yeah,
and
I
just
remember
like
My
that.
when the
favourite
guy
scenes.
when the guy calls it and he lifts the coin, it's just like, well done.
Well done, yeah. Walks
Yeah.
off. Oh, it's so fucking
So
good.
it's It is. It's so.
It's his look though. It's his double denim. It's his crap Beatles haircut.
Yeah.
His accent is incredible. His South American accent. I mean, he's a great. I love Javier Bardem anyway.
Wasn't it in one of his first roles
First time I
over
ever
in
saw
sort
him.
of the West?
It's the first one. Yeah, it's the first time that it came to my attention.
I liked him in Skyfall as well. He
won the Oscar for this.
Yeah.
And then got the Skyfall gig off the back of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said before about him being intelligent, like he might be unhinged and sadistic, but his intelligence is steep throughout the film. And his character, like he's always one step ahead of the people that he's following. For example, it's the part of where he's chasing Woody Harrelson's character.
Yes, yeah.
He's there waiting for him. Like it's kind of
so clever.
Yeah, but he's just a bit in the hotel scene with him showing himself. It's brutal. Yeah. It's like borderline, like sociopathic. Like
that's the difference. He's not a psychopath. He's a sociopath. He's not insane at all. That's the difference. He's completely sane.
He just has no regard for human life. Yeah. Like to him, it's just you are a job.
Yeah.
Like if you get in my way, I'm just going to kill you. I don't care.
Killing a human is like squatting a fly, isn't it? It's nothing.
Basically
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, he has as well with his other gun. He has a silent shotgun as well.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So, which is really great. I don't think I've ever seen a silent shotgun in a film.
No, I didn't think you could get one.
No, I didn't. Just got this big, huge silencer on it that's like absolutely massive.
Doom.
Yeah,
it's not that silent.
Yeah, but it's a lot
silent.
more silent. Yeah.
And I've just Googled it. Apparently, they're things.
Wow.
Suppressors for shotguns.
They need to tell the people in Walking Dead for all this stuff. I'm telling you.
But yeah, the scene obviously with him and Harrelson's character is another tense as fuck scene. The only thing that breaks it up is like the ring of the telephone.
Yeah.
And like which is another thing about this film in general that kind of works around Shiga's character as well as like one thing that makes him really frightening is that the Coens' lack of music to build tension.
God, it's sparse.
I think there's like one musical track in the whole thing, and like there's just the use of silence and the noises around stuff that's happening.
Yeah, that skill in editing to do something like that.
Yeah, like so it's footsteps and engine hums, rustling
wind
of things,
and stuff.
Wind and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. That's what builds the tension. It's not like this building of like violins or pianos or any other things that's kind of getting under your skin. There's no audio cues. It's just
so fucking good,
in that room with them, and that's it's brilliant. It's just so suspenseful. So yeah, he is. I was just reading up about him as well, about where people placed him on their kind of villain list.
It's got to be high.
So yeah, Nostalgia Critic named him a Nostalgia Critic named him the third scariest performance of all time.
Yeah, easy.
Placing him above the likes of the Joker due to viewing him more of a complex character, while the Joker relishes on causing anarchy and misery.
It's chaos, isn't it?
Anton seems to feel that he has no choice but to do so. UGO.com ranked him in the top 11 silver screen psychos, and he ranked 46 in Empire's 100 greatest villains of all time.
It's very high.
If you go on to another list that Empire did, he actually ranked in at 8 in their top 20.
Wow.
So I think the top 100 was one they did of fans voted.
Yeah.
And this top 20 was one.
They always seem to have Hannibal Lecter quite high, don't they?
Yeah, the people of the magazine voted for this one. Yeah, and Hannibal Lecter's number 5 on the list.
Yeah, he's always quite high. There's another not psychopath, more sociopath type. Yeah.
Anton Chigurh is an extremely destructive and dangerous individual who wreaks havoc in every single time he does a job. He's just.
I love him.
Incredible.
It's an outside the box pick as well because there's no campness to it. It's just.
No, exactly.
It made me want to rewatch it now.
I really wanted to get it rewatched this week before this because I picked it. I was like, I must get that rewatched because it's such a great film, but I just didn't get the time. But like, he's up there for me of being like utterly despicable subhuman villains as the likes of Captain Vidal and Amon Goeth.
Yeah.
So Captain Vidal on Pan's Labyrinth and Amon Goeth is from Schindler's List. People who just do not regard humans as anything other than like Oodles says in a bug. If you're below me,
Thanos on that list?
Different. He's got a cause.
Yeah, no, Thanos is
Different breed, isn't it? Too camp.
He's not scary.
What Stig is saying, it's like when you describe someone as Terminator-like, that's the closest we've got to a non-science fiction version. I don't think you'll never get a more robotic or just focus. That's what he is. He's very focused, and it's perfect.
Yeah, like he's still there's still a lot of dialogue from him in the film.
Yeah, he's
like,
not
a lot
silent.
more than you get from the likes of the Terminator.
Yeah.
But it's the way he speaks, his mannerisms, his facial expressions,
Precise,
and everything
isn't
about
it? Everything about him.
Yeah.
He does not waste a breath.
No.
And it's ice.
I think that's what makes an effective baddie as well. Like you said earlier, it's kind of like the calm, collected, like deadness of it, because most people aren't psychopaths and aren't sociopaths, so you just can't relate to somebody killing somebody or doing something terrible and just not caring, not breaking a sweat. Most people can't actually relate to that, and that's what makes it so scary and confusing.
And Anton's literally apex. He's just I agree with Stig. Absolutely incredible pick, mate. Thank you for that. I'm going to top that though with the ultimate,
Really?
Darth Vader.
Emperor Palpatine. No, I'm not.
I mean, great villains, but easy.
I'm going to go with one of the original villains. I'm going to go to a book that cast your aversions away. I'm talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book, and Count Dracula. So
I almost thought for a second, sorry, then that you're going to say the devil.
the devil, the original villain,
Actually, that's where I was going to.
he who walks backwards, Lucifer himself.
Yeah.
No, not quite. So Dracula needs no introduction, really, but I'm going to give him one. So Bram Stoker's Vampire. You all know it's a novel, don't you? Please. You all agree with me that it's a novel, not just a film, or many, many, many films. So a Transylvanian count who turns into a bat, sleeps in coffins, and allegedly, and drinks the blood of the living. It's a quintessential horror villain.
That's like your week.
More or less, my weekends usually. And in true undead style, he holds up well. So that's what my favourite thing about the book is. It's a Victorian book. I mean, late Victorian. But as a villain, has any of you actually read Dracula? And I'm not talking about watching that film, because that film's good.
So.
I like that film, but so
What, even with Keanu Reeves' accent?
I don't listen to Keanu Reeves. I don't believe he exists in that film. So, like, the book in itself, it's very similar to Moby Dick. Have you read that? Probably not. Have you?
Yes.
Oh, good.
No.
So with Moby Dick, it's all journal entries and reports, isn't it? And that's what Dracula.
Yes.
Well,
Dracula's let us home, isn't it?
Let us home, yeah, because it's fun. It's kind of like two books in one. You start off as Jonathan Harker, aka Keanu Reeves, as an English lawyer and real estate agent. That he's gone to Transylvania, which is in Romania, to seal the deal for a count called Dracula, to basically purchase Carfax Abbey, which for some reason people think it's in Whitby. It was actually Purefleet, which is just north of central London. The actual Whitby links are because Stoker.
That's where he arrived in England.
He arrived at Whitby in the book on the Demeter, the boat, and he did arrive at Whitby, but he based Carfax Abbey on Whitby Abbey. You know what I mean? That's the link. So Dracula's castle's not in Whitby. Anyway.
Never having that scampi anymore.
No, never again. But basically, like I said, it's a bit like Gadget said, it's let us home for the first half of the novel. You all know how the Dracula story goes. Jonathan goes there and he meets a feeble old man. He's got a thick Romanian accent, but he can speak English very well. He likes to play with his hair, his long hair. He's got a big, thick mustache in the book. And he's just really odd. Like, he notices there's not much light in the...
He is you.
He is me. It's not got a lot of light. It's not actually quintessentially pale like you'd expect. Like, everyone thinks vampires pale. He still looks human to Jonathan, but just old. He's got his nails are like glass. It's described that his long fingernails are like glass, and it's really freaky. And Jonathan describes in his letters that sometimes he doesn't have a shadow, which is creepy in itself. But we all know why, because he can control his own shadow. But what I do like about it is some of the facts and the lore about Dracula. So do you know what it's based on?
It's based on just general Eastern European myths.
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'll go through a few things. Rather than describing why he's the best baddie or why I like him, it's just we all know he's the king of the Goths. Do you know what I mean? And it's just fucking cool. And when he gets to England, he's actually a futurist, which people don't read because the second half of the book, when he's in England, he's quite he is obsessed with being modern and blending in and being, because sunlight doesn't kill Dracula and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not that the typical vampire, and he wants to be like a postmodern late Victorian man with his sexy clothes on and his cane and his curly black hair and stuff.
A dandy.
Yeah,
Is it dandy?
Absolute dandy. Yeah, he wants to be like modern and reading literature and stuff. He even goes to the zoo. I mean, yeah, he might let some of the animals out to kill people, but that's different, isn't it? It's a different kind of guy.
Just a quick one. Is Gary Oldman's look in the movie about as close?
It's the closest I've ever got, I think.
Yeah.
Because people think
Just
like
the way
Bela
you're describing
Lugosi.
it made me think
why
of it.
Why on earth did obviously people think that Dracula's got an Italian accent because of Bela Lugosi? He's Romanian for fuck's sake. But canonically, I want to suck your blood. That's Italian.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, I think Gary Oldman did really well, especially as the younger looking Dracula when he arrives to London and stuff like that. But that film's not brilliant.
No.
So, like Stoker said, he was compelled to pen the tale after dreaming of a vampire king rising from the tomb following a helping of dressed crab for supper. So he had food poisoning, and that's how he came up with Dracula. The first vampire novel was called The Vampire by John Polidori. That's the first ever written in English vampire novel, because obviously vampires are folklore, aren't they? And the reason Dracula came to England to live in Whitby was purely because Stoker read the headlines about Jack the Ripper and it fascinated him. Imagine that. Living at that time and like Jack the Ripper, and he that's the only reason why he brought him to England, because he wanted to like capitalize on that. It's fucking cool. And the link with Vlad the Impaler was because scholars still don't know if he is based on Vlad the Impaler. It just like it matches up. No, the Carpathian Forest with Vlad the Impaler would have took over. I don't know the history myself.
Brutal killings,
impaling him. Because when he died, he was found with a book called The Principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia, which are regions in that area, and it had Vlad the Impaler in it. So that's the only link they had to that. So scholars have just put two and two together. So that's interesting. What not many people know is, do you know where the original story was supposed to be set before he got the inspiration for Romania? Dracula was going to be Scottish.
Oh, McDracula.
Yeah, McDracula, yeah.
Dracula.
Instead of Dracula, it was going to be called Lord Wampire.
Glad they changed that.
Yeah, that's good, isn't
yeah.
it? The original actual title that only his publisher said we need to change the name, he was going to call it The Dead Undead. So rather than just Dracula, The Dead Undead. But yeah, I don't know what it is with, I think the legacy of Dracula. I mean, the legacy is more from the films. If you're going to be realistic, the original Bela Lugosi films and stuff like that, Nosferatu, even though they couldn't call him Dracula in that, could they? Because
I always remember that image.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the freakiest looking Draculas there's ever been on celluloid.
Count Orlok in that, because they couldn't have the rights for Dracula then, because it wasn't in the public domain. But since Dracula's been in the public domain, fuck me. He's everywhere. From Sesame Street to Count Duckula to fucking everything. There's always a Dracula.
Castlevania.
Marvel, DC, Castlevania. It's just everywhere. And I think the legacy...
Alucard.
Yeah, the legacy of the Prince of Darkness himself, the King of the Goths, the original. I think that surpasses the actual books later on, but the book itself is... There is actually a sequel to Dracula book, but it's fucking shite. So don't bother with that one. I just think, what is your guys' favourite portrayal of Dracula?
Christopher Lee, I think.
Christopher Lee, yeah.
At one point.
Leslie Nielsen's in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Brilliant. No, that is good. That's funny.
I would
like
say it would
Interview
be.
with the Vampire.
Oh, I
That is a
don't
good
know,
one.
actually. 'Cause most of the ones that I've seen are just kind of vampire films rather than
Yeah.
actually Dracula films.
I mean, a lot of people like. Does anyone know how Dracula dies in the book? Spoiler alert. How would you kill a Dracula? A Dracula.
I take it it's not a steak.
No, that's not how you kill a vampire in that.
Sunlight.
Chop his head off.
No, so
Right.
Jonathan Harker stabbed Dracula through the throat with a cookery knife, and Quincy, his other friend, stabs the Count in the heart with a Bowie knife, and he simply disintegrates. So all
Fair enough.
the other like things are just what's been latched on from Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? Like steak, garlic, sunlight. Sunlight doesn't kill Dracula. That's preposterous.
Did you see that absolutely dreadful BBC version of Dracula?
it was
that was out
horrible.
A couple of years ago.
Oh,
Horrible.
I thought one with the flies on the eyeball.
And the
Yeah.
plot twist that he woke up in the future.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't get that far.
I thought people. I'd heard people say the first few episodes were right, but then the ending was just.
Yeah, he woke up.
Shite.
He woke up
Never saw
now
that.
Yeah.
because Dracula's
I got.
Dracula's biggest.
I
sorry.
lost the will to live with that one shortly around about him killing all the nuns
Yes.
in the convent.
Which is
It just got to the point where we're going, okay, this has now just achieved full 100% weapons grade bullshit.
you know in the novel. Do you know Dracula's death toll? How many people are killed?
It's a handful, isn't it?
One.
It's like one or two.
One. He killed one. Well, that we know of. He killed one person.
Oh, yeah, because the whole thing is supposed to be the supposition of the rumors
Yes.
and the backstory of
And-
that.
and
It's not
it's
supposed
when-
to be
it's
what he's
when
actively doing.
Abraham Van Helsing turns up and just absolutely demonizes. Do you know what I mean? Turns him into this fucking legend. Because don't forget, Van Helsing's in it, not Hugh Jackman, an old man Van Helsing.
Oh, then it's not worth bothering with.
But yeah,
But I think it's all the movies that have taken the concept,
Yeah.
like Near Dark, Lost Boys,
yeah, they've ran with it though.
Fright
haven't they?
Night. They've all done something different. It's all based on the same thing. It's just Dracula kind of just got Hammer Horror just kind of did it.
The word
And
the
it's
word
very hard to go
vampire
back
is
to that
said
now.
twice in the novel, which is an interesting fact, and it's only said twice by Van Helsing. So it's like I don't even think Count Dracula considered himself a vampire. He was just there's never no backstory to his origin in the book. When I think that's brilliant. Like we were saying with Freddy Krueger, he's just a fucking horrible bastard, isn't he? It's just-
So then, does that mean I've only just realised worked this out? So I take it the iconic look of Dracula comes from the Hammer Horror.
Yes, absolutely. So in the
Oh,
book,
cool. I
he's a
didn't realise that.
when Jonathan meets him in Transylvania, he's a grey old man, big bushy mustache.
Great big bushy beard.
Yeah, great big bushy.
Someone had to say it.
And it's just old, and you can't. I mean, there is the scene that they do it in the film as well, where when Jonathan cuts himself shaving, give me that blade, let me have a little lick of that kind of weird stuff. There's tells, and there's obviously the Brides of Dracula. That's the real horror in that. So do you know in the film when he gets manipulated by his 3 brides and stuff like that? That happens in the book, and he does catch Dracula out his window on all fours in the garden talking to wolves. I mean, that's a sign, isn't it?
I mean, it's concerning. If your neighbour was doing that, you'd be slightly perturbed.
And the fact that Dracula won't let him go home, which that's also another.
Oh, it's all right. He's a dog whisperer.
Yeah. Just when you refer to the Brides of Frankenstein, there, it just reminded me of the absolute state of the ones in Van Helsing.
Oh God, the flying harpy things.
The flying harpies that are perpetually horny and.
So in the book,
Oh, True Blood as
in
well.
the
Yeah,
book,
True
it was
Blood.
the
That
Roman.
really-
It was me saying perpetually horny that reminded you of that, was it?
Well, have you
Yes.
seen True Blood?
Oh, yes.
As I
I
say,
saw the first series.
in the book, it was the Roman gypsies that were like telling Jonathan, like, don't go in there. There's fucking evil. It's evil. It's evil. And then the Roman gypsies got corrupted by Dracula to get him to England because Dracula's biggest. Do you know what his biggest weakness is? At all?
Chips.
No. His biggest weakness is every day he has to be exhumed in sacred earth. So he has to get inside his earth. Do you know what I mean? Like
That's for
soil.
the coffin thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why he's in a coffin, because it's easier to just keep the soil in the coffin, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's his weak. So he employs all the Roman gypsies that were like, don't trust him, because they were getting him money. Take me to England. I'm going to lay in here for a while. But in the book, he turns into a werewolf and eats them all on the way around. So, you know what I mean? But that's all conjecture, because we don't know if he has done. That's like I saying, there's no confirmed death toll. That's what's so clever about the book. It's all fucking conjecture. Oh, it's so good. You should read it. It's not stupidly long either. So yeah, that's why.
It's one of those things I never got around to reading.
Yeah, I actually own it as well. I just haven't read it. It just looks nice.
I think I've got it on the Kindle.
It's so frightening. Especially I like the first half better than the second half when he's coming around with his cane and he's looking cool. And he's off to the zoo and he goes to the cinema and stuff. It's just, well, early Victorian shows or whatever it is.
Peep shows,
yeah. But yeah, I just think he's such an iconic villain because he's a villain. He's, you know what I mean?
Well, he kills people and drinks the blood, or has people killed.
Yeah, basically. And even if they don't die, they come back as vampires. It's still killing them, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think his legacy is what makes me feel like he's number one for me.
Well, when kids dress up as him in Halloween, they don't even know the concept.
No, but they're dressing up as Bela Lugosi, aren't they, or Christopher Lee? That's the difference. Like, if I said to my kid, you're dressing up as Dracula, like, if you want inspiration, go into the old folks' home and have a look at some of those guys in there. That's what he looks like, kids.
Do a jackass as an old grandpa.
Because, like I said, he wants to blend in, and then when he does come to England, he's a futurist. He's a bit like Tony Stark. He wants to see things prosper. He was obsessed with the Industrial Revolution and stuff like that. It's really nuanced as a character, but an absolute bastard. And allegedly the son of the devil. So, Dracula. Love him. Anyway, I'm sure our listeners could probably top some of that. Have we got a bulging sack?
Oh, it's absolutely bulging, fit to burst. We're going to rattle through some of these ones because this one connected with the audience significantly.
I bet it did. They're all baddies, that's why.
Yeah. So, Made You a Mixtape Pod has said, if you're looking for a portrayal of a villain, David Tennant was perfectly cast as Kilgrave in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, yes. He was
great. He's in my shortlist.
He was one of the best things about that show.
Terrifying is what his powers.
Yeah, it's just what it's like.
He'd just be like
persuasion, isn't it?
Yeah, he just says something and we're done with them, and he just he could just say, right, go kill yourself now.
Yeah, throw yourself off a building.
And people just go, yeah.
It's like glamorizing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just scary what you could do.
Yeah. They've also gone to say, overall though, Doctor Doom.
Yes! Oh, big up the Doctor Doom.
Khan Noonien Singh pointing out Star Trek 2, not the Benedict Cumberbatch one.
Oh, yeah.
I am Khan! That's not the new one. It's horrible.
Yeah, and it's just like, and?
Who's that?
Who? No context.
Loki.
And
Raj Al Ghul. So I'm probably going to assume he's talking about the Liam Neeson one.
Yeah, not Ra's al Ghul.
No, I might be just talking about the
character in general.
The character
Demon
in general,
Head.
Yeah.
X Radio X has said Agent Smith from The Matrix. The voice, the temperament, perfection. Yeah, specifically from The Matrix, not the fan sequels.
Yeah.
It's the smell.
Terrestrial Extra said the worst baddie in media, Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
But
don't even speak his name.
The best baddie has got to be Darth Vader, but my favourite is Biff Tannen. Fantastic performance by Thomas F. Wilson. I can't help but love to hate.
Just quickly talking about Darth Vader. It's weird that you don't really see him do an awful lot in the movies.
Have you not seen the prequels?
Just there's a hint
kills
of
kids.
what he can do. When he tries to choke somebody and he really pathetically kills Ben Kenobi. It's not the best fight in the world.
Yeah.
But it's not until Rogue One when you actually see him go all out. You're just like,
don't forget he's Darth Vader in episode 3. Don't forget that.
That's right at the end.
Still kills kids.
My problem with Darth Vader is that I think I think specifically Return of the Jedi ruins him.
I do.
Because he's a fucking lackey. He's a lapdog for the Emperor.
I'd rather him be in charge.
He's not in charge. Vader's not
Mr. Stevens.
Vader's not in charge. Vader's just carrying out orders. He's intimidating and he's
crow,
scary.
Isn't he? He's just somebody's fucking lapdog.
But that's established in the first film.
Well, no, it's
not. You don't know about the Emperor, do you? In the first film?
Yeah.
Well, no, but he's working on behalf of
an empire.
Moff Tarkin.
Oh yes, he is. Yeah. Fuck. He tells him to put him down, doesn't he? Lord Vader.
Yeah.
Stop strangling him.
Yeah. You see, with that, I always kind of assumed it was like two very high level people working together.
Ranks,
you know,
yeah.
like he's not taking specific orders from Tarkin. Just Tarkin is telling him to do a few things.
Yeah.
Whereas it's that last sequence in the second Death Star in Jedi where it's like. I don't know. It's just it's very lapdogish, and I think that just ruins a lot of Vader's.
It's mad as well because he
for
looks
me.
so intimidating, like a samurai, isn't he? He's fucking scary looking as fuck. But yeah, I get what you mean with that. I agree with you.
Lee Davies has said the Nazis. We all agree.
Yeah.
But specifically the ones in Indiana Jones.
Oh, they're shite,
Definitely.
horrible bastards.
The chunky whack of a punch to a Nazi's face always brings a smile to my face.
Absolutely. I love Nazi. I like it when Nazis get chopped up by aeroplane propellers. One of my favourite Nazi deaths.
Or thrown out of blimps.
Yeah. No
I like
ticket.
the bit where Hitler signs that book. I think that's brilliant. That bit.
Oh, in the third one.
Just in general, any situation where a Nazi gets punched,
Yeah,
it's
I'm all
positive.
for Nazis getting
Yeah.
killed. Big fan of that.
There's nothing wrong with Nazis getting what's coming to them. That F King Show guy has said Hans Gruber, an absolute bastard who walks that line of being so cool you like him, but so evil you can't actually cheer for him. And the fact that it was Alan Rickman's first Hollywood role is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Just a spoiler alert, he does appear in Hans Baby, so...
People need to get on the Patreon then for
yeah,
that
you
one.
do. I've got to decide who's going to play him first. I think Stig's going to play Hans Gruber in Hans Baby.
It has to be
It
really.
has to be Stig.
I want an audition.
You're in it anyway.
I want to be Hans.
Okay.
Tig has come in with his longest comment ever.
Wow.
Well, seeing as he was the one championing this episode in the
That's
Discord.
very
He's a
true.
baddie.
So the obvious nomination is He-Man's forever nemesis Skeletor, a perfect concoction of wisecracks, campiness, and unfiltered evil, and a skull for a face.
Yeah.
And
However,
that Twitter,
instead I
that
would like-
Twitter handle as well. Skeletor's always picking on that He-Man. It's
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
brilliant.
However, instead I would like to nominate the baddies from the near-perfect 1985 kids' adventure movie, The Goonies.
Yeah.
The Fratellis were incredibly frightening for a youngster watching the movie for the first time. They were creepy as fuck, genuinely violent, and wickedly evil. The film opens with Mama Fratelli and her son Francis busting Jake out of jail, culminating in a thrilling car chase to the beach where they mingle their Jeep in an organised ORV race. Off-road vehicle? Yeah. The freeing of Jake introduces the audience to one of the comic subplots of the movie, the rivalry and jealousy between the brothers who are desperate for Mama Fratelli's approval. Soon after the Fratellis murder some FBI agents, our heroes, the Goonies, come across the evil trio in their search for the starting point of One-Eyed Willie's treasure hunt. The scene with the boys being forced to drink the glasses of fetid brown water with Mama Fratelli exclaiming, "It's wet, isn't it?" It's terrifying. And who could forget the recapture of Chunk on the Highway, where he spills his guts about the gang hideout to a passing motorist, only for the interior light to come on and Jake Fratelli's face to appear in the wing mirror.
Yeah.
7-year-old me was horrified. The film then takes us on a gripping adventure with the Fratellis falling foul of Data's booby traps, which must have inspired the Wet Bandits in Home Alone 5 years later. The Wet Bandits, a worthy mention in their own right. And of course, we can't forget Sloth, the third brother who befriends Chunk and saves the day.
Hey, you guys.
The Goonies is a brilliant movie with perfect casting, with Anne Ramsey, Joe Pantoliano, and Robert Davi as the amazing evil Fratellis.
Yes.
You didn't like
Anyone
Goonies, did
who
you,
doesn't
Gadget?
like that movie.
No,
is
I
in
can't
big
stand the
trouble.
Goonies.
Gadget
I hate
hates
it.
it.
Suck. But
Can't believe
when
that.
he says you can't forget Sloth again, that's something that shows how evil they are.
Yeah.
They keep up their disabled brother
Yeah,
locked up.
he's not a baddie at
because,
all.
because he's different.
Yeah.
They actually have him chained up. Yeah, like they are horrible people.
And his brother just sings to him really loud and he doesn't like it and
That's
stuff.
it,
It's
yeah.
horrible. They are horrible bastards, Fratellis. Horrible bastards.
I love the Goonies. You needed to see it when you were a kid, Gadget. That's
Yeah, I think it is one of those films that you need to see as a child.
Yeah, like Hellraiser and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Your man Bobby Wayne, Oodles, has come in
Oh, aye.
with a couple of quotes.
Oh.
Little pig, let me in.
Oh.
I hope you got your shitting pants on.
He's on about Negan, isn't he?
Apologies to Oodles if I gave too much away,
No.
but I have to talk about
He
Negan
is.
from The Walking Dead.
I know it.
A villain with so much charisma
Get that
and infamy.
reference.
I was well and truly in Pee Pee Pants City when he was first introduced in 2016, right on the season
That
6 finale.
fucking episode crushed me and their heads.
After being built up for most of the season, we are introduced to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character Negan,
Stunning.
the leather jacket wearing, baseball bat wielding leader of the Saviors, who proceeds to murder one of Rick's group before the credits roll, and we are left waiting to find out who.
Oh, God.
When we return in season 7, he has Rick cowering like a whipped pup, and even gets him to cut his own son's arm
me
off
cowering as
before
well.
stopping him to prove a point.
God.
The way Morgan pulls off the character with that signature smirk, the confident swagger, the meticulous beard, the chilling whistle, and those fantastic one-liners has forever made him one of the more memorable villains of all time.
Brilliant.
A character that doesn't want to kill people, but he makes sure he enjoys it when he does, leaving all his subordinates completely unable to protect him and living in fear of stepping a foot wrong. And one more thing I'll say about The Walking Dead is they get character development right. As we find out more about Negan, we learn to love just how badass he is, why he does the things the way he does. The fact that he is bad, they may try to justify it, but we know he is bad and we still love him for it. And of course, his story arc takes a drastic turn, but at that point, he's no longer the villain to be concerned about. So putting all that aside, he remains my favourite villain so far. And P.S. None of his one-liners sound right with a British accent. I hope you get your shitting pants on. Sounds like a parent yelling at their child to get dressed.
So true.
And P.P.S. The Joker is a good baddie, but a shit villain. Fight me, Oodles.
I'll fucking fight you, boy.
Do you think there's a distinction between baddie and villain?
Yes, a massive distinction.
Yeah.
Villains enjoy being the villain. Baddies, sometimes they're in the right place, wrong time type situation. I think you can be accidentally be a baddie.
I think it's just the archness of it all as well.
Yeah.
It's like a villain has a pathos to them. There's a reason why they're doing it. Baddies can just be cunts,
a good analogy to explain it is stormtroopers are baddies, the Sith are villains.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Nimrod Hicks has come in with dear middling expectations.
Wow.
Every time.
He goes on to talk us up about our live show last week. It was a lot of fun to be involved with. Cheers to all.
Yeah, boy.
As for villains, I pondered many. Hans Lander, the Jew hunter in Inglourious Bastards.
God.
Wonderfully played by Christoph Waltz, was a contender.
Yeah.
Stringer Bell and Avon Barksdale from The Wire were also considered alongside Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I must also mention Bruce Robertson, the dirty cop in the magnificent 2013 film Filth, based on an Irvin Welsh novel.
Oh, God.
That guy is proper awful.
That's so good, that film.
However, my final vote, and I agree with him on this one, this was on my shortlist, my final vote goes to the darkly charismatic Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Oh,
The Fifth Element.
Oh, yes.
Divinely acted by Gary Oldman.
A role of a
Zorg is
lifetime.
Zorg is a greedy industrialist that will stop at nothing to fulfill his covetous desires, including selling out basically everyone in his Faustian pact with a higher power of evil approaching the world.
Oh.
The moment when priest Vito Cornelius tells him he's a monster and Zorg coyly replies, I know. It gets me every time.
Oh, God, I love Fifth Element so much.
As Zorg's a great
It's one of the best films ever made.
Oh. Best Boy Angry Kurt says there are two villains which stand out for me.
Mm-hmm.
My favourite is Frau Engel from Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
I can't remember
Being
it.
a Nazi to begin with helps her to be a great villain, but she's absolutely one of the worst fictional human beings I've ever come across.
Oh, it's her with a
And he's
scarred
right.
face, isn't it?
Engel is awful.
She is. Well, she's a Nazi.
She's like a female Hitler, but her mannerisms make me hate her so much that I took pleasure in beating her up at the end of the game. From the very beginning, I hated her when she makes you choose who to behead at the start of the game, and she doesn't let up from there. She even licks your face at one point. A horrible, but also excellent villain. Secondly is Doc Ock from the Spider-Man 2 film and the most recent Insomniac game.
Oh,
I really liked his
yeah.
character
Yeah, I
arc and
do.
had some level of sympathy with him, which is unusual for a villain. I mean, Alfred
that's good
Molina's
choice.
interpretation of
Best,
Doc Ock
best
is
we've ever seen.
incredible.
Best we've ever seen.
I agree.
Yeah.
Better than comics, I think.
Because he got the pathos behind
Absolutely.
Octavius Wright.
I agree.
Totally.
I think he's quite good in the Spider-Man game. The reason
Yeah, he is.
He is.
He's good, but it's very much a riff on what Alfred Molina did.
Melina absolutely turned that character from just Sinister Six character into
totally.
actual. Ooh, I mean, there's it's
There's
Shakespearean
emotional
almost.
reason.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, like the scene. I mean, it's not necessarily like him playing that character, but the scene on the operating table where the arms go
Oh,
crazy.
it's frightening.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's a shame that he's in it, isn't he? What's his name? Who plays Peter Parker.
I
I hate him. I hate him.
Get that fringe on the
Ugh,
glove.
it's
The
his
black hair.
face, mate.
Smash's Clear's coming. I'm going for an unpopular pick, but one of my favourites is the Batman villain Bane.
I love Bane.
Andy, can you do your quote again,
Which
please?
Bane is he meaning, though? Comics Bane or Tom Hardy Bane?
Perhaps he's wondering why you'd shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Tom, is that
Now,
you?
that was more,
Uncanny, isn't it?
that was more comprehensible than in that film. So he goes on to explain, partly this may be because I was just at the right age to be reading the Nightfall arc when
you
it was
go.
released in the mid-90s.
Yes.
Aged 8, the idea of watching my favourite superhero get his ass kicked and be definitively beaten was just unthinkable.
Yeah. Break the bat.
Bane is a physical match for Batman, and with his Venom super serum, incredibly strong and capable in hand-to-hand combat.
Yes.
But he didn't fight Batman head-on. He staged a prison break and forces Batman to round up all his usual rogues gallery. Only when Batman is exhausted and at his lowest ebb, Bane shows up to this house. He had easily figured out who Batman was, planned to make him overexert himself, and then easily defeated him. The final fight isn't even particularly a challenge. Bane just beats him through Wayne Manor and snaps his spine over his knee,
So good.
casting Batman aside in the street to show how little he thinks of him. Bane is a scary villain because he outsmarted Batman, outmaneuvered him, and defeated and could have killed him. That original arc builds narrative tension extremely well, and the way Bane stalks and calculates his attack before confronting Batman left a profound impact on me. All too often villains are either a physical match for the hero or an intellectual match. Bane wins on both fields. A terrifyingly strong single-minded master strategist. Now, the movie versions, animated versions, game versions, and even the comic book versions in later arcs have been kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
Nothing has recaptured the sense of menace. Obviously, the bright green roid monster from the Joel Schumacher film and the mumble-mouthed Tom Hardy version didn't even get close. Spoilers for The
I
Dark
liked
Knight
him in the
Rises,
movie.
he isn't even the main villain.
No.
Bane is a great villain. Unfortunately, he's been a criminally underused or misused one since 1993.
I thought it worked.
No,
in the movie.
it's
Just
nothing
couldn't
like-
understand a word he said.
No,
That
it's
was a
nothing
problem.
like
Got a
what the
problem
Bane
with
that.
I know, but it was.
I
still
like
just kinda-
Luchador Mask Bane, South American Bane.
But
Calling
it's
everyone
right though,
puta.
like
Oh,
I've if you play the Arkham games, the Injustice games, like he's just so secondary and like easy to beat.
Yeah.
And like even like look at Harley Quinn, like I love the portrayal of it, but he's just a piss take character.
not in Nightfall,
yeah.
man. It's
It's
incredible.
everyone's whipping boy in that, and I mean my favorite thing obviously about that, like I said, is the fact that he does the Tom Hardy voice for it. But yeah, if you are someone who hasn't read that comic, or don't know a little bit like don't do a bit of research like me, he comes off as a very secondary joke.
Because
Like
they always
villain.
forget how intelligent he is. He's supremely intelligent, and that's especially in Nightfall, like he's described. It's one of those moments where you just think, because Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective. He's Sherlock Holmes with $1 billion. You know what I mean? That's what it is, and Bane just outwits him. This man dressed in a luchador mask that uses chemicals to enhance his body, and his brain's always it's so fucking good, man.
And a few years later, Joel Schumacher turned him into a mindless
Yeah,
zombie,
gay
like-
icon. Yeah.
He's intelligent in the movie. You just can't hear what
Oh,
he's
you
saying.
mean the Christopher
Oh
Nolan?
no, I'm
Bane.
talking about the Joel
Yeah.
Schumacher one. They just
No, yeah, I'm
It
talking
just-
about
it's
the
just-
movie.
Yeah, but
stupid in that.
the Nolan Bane's different because he's probably gone. We need a baddie that's going to be able to break Batman. Who did that in the comic? Bane. I don't like how he looks. He's got a luchador mask on. Let's make it worse. And I like Tom Hardy as that Bane, but it's not. And I hate to say it. Get ready. It's not my Bane. My Bane.
Last up, we've got Ray. He's come in saying, "Hi, Modern Escapism. I'm naming Pagan Min from Far Cry 4 as my baddie of choice, because in some sense, this tyrant of Kriat is a true winner of the game. If a conversation is had with Min at the end, we would find out that he became a dictator and dragged the country into a reign of terror to avenge his daughter, killed by the king that he toppled. But instead of rationalising the atrocities he has done with the story, he frankly admits his daughter has become an excuse for his behaviour long ago, and he's been enjoying the power and violence. But Min is not the only one spilling blood under a noble name. Two leaders of the resistance force slaughter and terrorise under the name of building a better Kriat, and the protagonist is killed under the name of fulfilling his mother's death wish. But after hours of game time, how many players actually still remember or care that we came to Kriat, the home of our family, to scatter the ashes of our mother when shooting our way to Min's mountain palace? As V for Vendetta said, an idea cannot be killed. Then how about turning all your adversaries into mini versions of you and haunt the land forever? Ooh. Pagan Min is certainly the man who is having the last laugh in his helicopter.
I think Pagan Min is the best Far Cry villain. I think he's better than Vaz and what's his name in 5? Shepherd or something like that. I don't know. Seed, Joseph Seed. He's better than any of them. Yeah, I agree with him on that one. Love that character, and he dresses incredibly. Whew.
I mean, Voss was he was one note. Like he had that really impactful line quite early on about madness. Yeah, and then after that, he's just there.
But he's become like the Far Cry mascot, and it's like Ming's way better.
Yeah. Isn't he like a DLC thing for 6 to putting Voss back in it?
Ridiculous.
Did you know there's an Easter egg in
there is in every Far Cry where you can just end the game immediately at the beginning.
Yeah,
by not doing anything.
Yeah, you just sit. He tells you to wait there, and he leaves the room, and then you go off. If you wait, he comes back. Yeah, and then it's like game over.
It's fucking clever. Far Cry's good, man.
I haven't played one since the first one. About the time that aliens got involved with it, I thought this series isn't for me.
Blood Dragon's good, man. It's good.
Oh yeah, I've played Blood Dragon. That's synthwave gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. I recommend. I think out of all of them that currently exist, I think 4's probably the better one. I think it is.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
Anyway, that's the mailbag for this week.
Oh, that sack is empty, baby. Right.
Splooge.
Oh, finally. Woo. Now, Candy, hit us up with those socials and those lovely sneak peek of what we'll be doing next week.
Yeah, as always, you can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all of our episodes and our socials. You can join us on Discord. We've got a wonderful community. Lovely chatting with them all week, hearing their comments and everything. It's great to just interact with them. If you do have any comments, you can either tweet us or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. And if you enjoy playthroughs, you can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/modernescapism. We have regular streams on Saturday. Oodles, what have you got for us?
Well, I'm going to either be playing Avengers or Walking Dead, so probably I might actually just stream Walking Dead because I'm playing it. I might not even talk to you all. I might just fucking stream it. You can watch me picking my nose while I'm playing it.
I'm here for the nose picking, I can't lie. Mondays, we're carrying on with Biggie Dies. Watch Biggie die his way through Dark Souls. Biggie, you came so close.
Fuck that fight.
I thought you had it this week. I texted Gadget. I was like, he's going to do it.
So close, and then he got stuck on some scenery. He's like, I'm stuck, and he just got burnt by the big guy.
I think you're pathetic, mate. You're pathetic.
The environment really is the third member of that boss fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes it can absolutely fuck you. Like, you use it for so much of, like, spacing out Ornstein and Smo and keeping them at a distance from you or avoiding attacks. But then there's a one time where you think, if I just get just far enough away, I'll be fine. And you get caught on a pillar or caught on the edge.
Exactly what happened.
I saw it. It was heartbreaking. But you've got the moves there. It's just putting it all together. You'll get there.
I think you sort of lost heart, didn't you?
I did.
What was so heartbreaking as well was it was like right near the start of the stream.
Yeah.
Like
2 hours later, still there.
Trust me. Once you do beat them, the reward is worth it. It's a fabulous chest.
So you say. I mean, it's just like you take that first guy out and you're like, yeah, and then the other guy gets even stronger. You're like, oh, for fuck.
Well, that's why we all said focus on one of them. Don't try and take them both at the same time. Because there's a 2-person fight in Dark Souls 2 which fucks with you on that one.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh great.
Throne Watcher and Defender because they start healing each other.
If you don't kill them quick enough. Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to.
He won't play 2.
Wednesday, Gadget and Stig, are you carrying on with Sea of Thieves?
I don't know.
Yeah, we will.
Okay,
yes,
then.
we will do. By the time this comes out, last night's stream, Gadget will be on his own because I'm away on holiday, and so next week when we do Wednesday night, yes, we'll be back doing more Tall Tales with Wish Johnny Depp.
Stig confirmed. Thursday, we've got Candy's Creature Feature, and I'm going to be starting Outlast this Thursday. I don't know if some of you have seen me try and play Five Nights at Freddy's last week.
I enjoy watching you play
I haven't watched
that.
it yet. What happened? Tell me, give me a quick run through what happened. Did you go,
I'll describe it.
Basically that.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Good jump scares.
It's a shit game, though, isn't it?
It is shit, and I didn't get
barely a
past
game.
night 2 either. Oh god! All playthroughs get uploaded to YouTube, so you can see the jump scares. You can watch it in your own time. Search Modern Escapism in the channels list, and we just need a few more people to subscribe, and we will have our own personal link. So please subscribe if you can.
Yeah, haven't subscribed. What's wrong with you?
Come on, stop being
hell?
a villain.
Do it. It's a click. Just a click.
Just subscribe.
Bunch of
Hit
baddies.
that subscribe.
That's right. And that.
Smash it.
Smash it, that's it.
Subscribe
Smash that
here.
subscribe button. Hit that like.
That's right.
Patreon, we've already spoken to that. So you've got £5 for Modern Escapees. It's £5 for Modern Escapees, £5 for Scorched Sheep, or £7.50 for the Biggie Bundle. Please go for the Biggie Bundle.
If not, you're a cop.
Next week's, or a baddie. Next week's subject is most underrated. So that could be actors, media, or technology. What's just not been given a fair shot?
Podcast hosts.
They're not going to talk you up,
Let's
Oodles.
not talk about that.
Fuck's sake.
And as always, if you have a minute and you've enjoyed our podcast, please give us a 5-star review on Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast. It really does help us get seen. And if you have any suggestions or comments, leave us a 5-star review and we'll read them all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone that's listening. If you're not a patron, you won't be able to come round the back and unzip your pants. But for everyone else, never forget that you do need villains. Because if you didn't have a villain, the good guy would just stay at home, bored. So, thanks for listening.
Peter Reed got fucking monkey seed.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Going well back when Peter Reed was a Sunderland manager.
Yeah. Back in glory days for Sunderland.